Can I answer the question? Because the chats are blowing up and it's just like, so
Talk for a
this,
second. I'm gonna walk away. Just
So Natalie, I can I
talk,
speak?
talk.
this
I'm gonna
hold
take a
on,
quick 2 minute break. Go ahead and
just,
ask
Natalie,
the question.
Michael
just
wanted to
to
answer your
read,
question, Natalie.
Well, Natalie
yeah,
was first though. It was
I
technically
want
on
him,
Natalie. Go ahead,
yeah,
Natalie.
I want him to answer the question, but I'm gonna add to it based on what was said in the chat afterwards. So the question was for people, for whoever didn't hear it, is there's a confusion for me when it comes to Jay saying if you're the type of giver, type of person that's given as a woman, you probably should hold off for at least 2 months before you start giving, because you can't overdo it in the beginning and get taken advantage of, which has happened to me. I can't tell you how many times, countless times. So then when someone says, well, I'm a guy, and if I go out on a date with a female and she doesn't offer to pay the second date, then you're out. For me, that's confusing, because I feel like what we are neglecting to see is that when you give in one way, that doesn't mean this you should expect the person to give in the same way. So for instance, if you're dating someone and you got it together financially, but the other person doesn't, you cannot expect when you go out on a date for them to offer something that they don't have. But yet, if they are dating you and you take them out to dinner, you pay, but then say, like, for example, I don't know, like your car got messed up and they offering you to pick you up, to take you to work or do whatever it is. That's the way they give. So I just don't want people to lose sight of how people give and the ways that they can give, because you're constantly probably looking to that person to say, oh, they never give financially, but yet they give emotionally. So I don't want us to lose, it's kind of like, I had a conversation with someone a while ago and we were talking about love languages. People love you in the way they know to love, because they don't know you and they don't know how you would want to be loved. So they know they will love you, how they receive it. So I think we just need to kind of remember that when we first meet each other, because it's just like, you don't know the person, so you can't expect them to love you how you want to be loved. And that's all I have to say about that.
So Natalie, I really appreciate that and the honesty. And I only could speak, for example, for myself. I just moved. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia now. I just moved from Brooklyn, Newark to Atlanta back in October. And I've been on 2 dates this year alone. I said, I'm going to try doing the dating thing down here. Everybody told me how toxic it is down here, and I'm going to try something different. This past Tuesday, took somebody out, Taco Tuesday, because my first date, I took somebody out to the Van Gogh Museum, and they said, well, that's not my type of thing, and so I'm not cultured like that. So I was like, all right, whatever. So this time, went on a date with someone, took out for Taco Tuesday. Date was going great. Everything was going fine to the end. What happened at the end was, she ate a food, but she didn't eat all her food. So she had the food, she was going to put that away. She was like, you could get rid of it. I said, hey, let's bag it up and give it to the homeless guy outside. She turned a 360. She's like, so you would rather give them straps instead of giving them a fresh plate? And I was like, wait, where did that come from? I was like, you didn't finish your food and I want to just give them whatever. And then my thing was like, I'm not saying, well, I'm paying for everything, but I was just being in spirit of giving. So she went and said, I'll just buy him some order of wings. And today's Saturday, haven't had a phone call since then. So my spirit was to give, but it was not in the way that she wanted me to do it to make it look like I was coming off being cheap.
Michael, she was eating that later.
You want that dog?
You go, Javito.
That was for lunch the next day.
Women, they try to get 2 meals out of you. They want that 2 meals. They want that.
I'm confused.
No, she said she didn't want to.
She didn't want to box the food up.
God had your back, Michael. He was like, "Oh, it's going too good." He don't know that
it was going so good. It was like
so God was like, "Let me snatch this back because you don't know. This is not for you, Michael."
So I like to make a comment
somebody else's food
before we get to the end because Natalie started this conversation. I wanted to make a comment about that before we get too far away from it. And so this is what I think. I think that the only time, now this is in relationship to who pays for dinner, right? So my feeling is this: the only time that this sort of contest comes up in the mind of a man is when there's confusion about his manhood. A self-aware and confident man never engages in such trivialities. So that's my take on it. Thanks.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say something real quick on that, because I want to make sure that we're being clear on it. And Natalie kind of knows, how I feel about this, so I want to make sure I'm being clear. I do believe that men, pay for dates, and I think I've said that before. However, I know that there are a lot of men that what they don't want is they don't want a woman to take continual advantage of them. And I think that is what the men are chiming in and saying, is that they're just looking for the woman to at least attempt to, be a part of that process so that they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of. For me, my tolerance for a woman paying for a meal is about 3 months. That's my tolerance. I know some men have it on the second date, some men have it on the third or fourth date. Every man has a different tolerance for that. But to go back to what you were saying, Natalie, as far as like a woman giving, it's just like I said, when if I'm dating a woman and she is around me, she's going to know a little bit about the things that I'm into. She's going to know kind of some of the things that I like, blah, blah, blah. You're going to learn that within the first couple of weeks. So I'm looking for her in her giving to just give in a place of encouragement, to give, like I said, if she comes over to my apartment, she can still, if I buy her food, she can clear off the TV trays, because that's what I have. I have TV trays. I don't even have a table. So she can clear off the doggone TV trays. I'm not saying that I won't do it. Don't get me wrong, because especially the first time you come over. But if it's like the third or fourth time you're in my apartment and you can't pick up the 2 plates and walk them 20 feet to the kitchen, or you can't even get up and get you a glass of water, and now it's the fourth or fifth time you're over at my house and I got to go get you some water. I got to go get you a glass of water because you're thirsty. No, there should be a point where you start to get up and say, hey, I'm about to get some water. Do you want anything? Okay. What we're talking about here is just basic courtesy. And I have dated women that have literally sat on my couch the whole time we're watching movies, and every single thing, whether I'm getting them food or I'm getting them wine or chips or whatever it is, I got to do everything. And this is not the first date or the second date or the third date or the fourth date. I mean, we talk about fifth and sixth and seventh dates, or at least situations where they've been around me. And that's where I'm saying I think a woman needs to be doing something. It doesn't have to be for me as far as payment. But I think the whole concept, a lot of people blowing that up. So I'm going to let Sean Williams, do you want to talk about this or do you want to talk about something else?
No, I want to kind of stick on this. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because I got these earbuds in. I want to talk about what Michael had talked about before, the homeless guy. When he got that food and gave it to the homeless guy, he wanted absolutely nothing from the homeless guy. He wanted the homeless guy to go to sleep and have a good meal so he can get a good night's sleep. He did it out of the love in him for people. He did not expect anything in return. And I think in our dating, we have to go at it with the fact of, how can we encourage the other person? What can we do so that that person can feel the love of God that you have for them? That's what it's about. It's not, me going on dates is really not complicated. It's not about who pays or how she look or what her personality is. My whole thing is, how can I encourage this woman? So now, just for the guys, as I'm talking to her on the phone, I'm making notes over the things that she likes. When we go out on a date, I ask her, well, where would you like to go? What's something you've done that you've never done before? The whole time spent is never about me. And if we did that maybe 1 time or 10 times, it's up to me to decide, am I being taken advantage of? That's nobody else's decision but my own. I may need to be able to do this for this person for whatever reason. Having that mindset keeps me away from her personality, Is she a giver? Is she a taker? It's God is going to make it known. You know, people show themselves regardless. So if this person is a taker, believe you, I've been around the block. It's going to come out. I'm going to see where I've taken her out 3 times and she's never offered to pay a meal. You know, so I don't even worry about those things or be concerned about those things. My only thing is, you know what? I just need to make sure that this person just has a good time. And to be honest, for the guys, it's a lot of fun doing that. It's a lot of fun asking them and figuring out the things that they like to do. And they're planning a whole day around stuff that they like to do. They leave encouraged. They leave having a good time, happy. It's not even about getting a second date. I may not even want a second date, and they don't even know it. The only thing that my goal is so that they are encouraged, and it's because I care about people, not so much them in particular. Not that I don't care about them, but I don't know them that well, you know. But I mean, that's where I'm at. When we go out on these dates, let's just go out to just get to know the person, encourage. The Bible says encourage one another and not look to what we can get. You know, as time go on, if your cup is not being filled up and you're constantly pouring out, then it's your decision to do what you want to do. But that's my decision. Nobody can make that decision for me because nobody understands my needs greater than I do. But so that's what I got to say about that.
Israel.
To that, I'm listening to all these comments, and everybody has an expectation about what is going to be or what they want to be. I think it might be better to just not have any expectations, because you really don't know what you really want. I mean, other than the basics, you know, you want somebody who likes you, who you like, you know, maybe you have some things in common, but you may, you know, if you just stop with all the expectations, you may find something that you hadn't expected, and it might be what you want after all. So that's my comment.
Miss RJ, definitely want to give you your honor and respect. When you set expectations, right? Shouldn't we have some level of standard? Like, for instance, me, like hygiene is a standard for me. Cleanliness is a standard for me. A level of just being some level organized. I'm not asking you to be the greatest, but at least set the bar. Like, can we?
I don't mean that way, Michael. That's not what I meant. Those things are obvious. You know what I'm saying? Those things are obvious. Those are sort of like foundational. But I mean beyond that.
Okay.
You shouldn't go around thinking, well, you know, I'm gonna buy her dinner, or I'm gonna buy him dinner this time, and next time, you know, if he doesn't offer or she doesn't offer, then I don't think this is the right person. I think there's a problem there, something with the confidence that you have in yourself. And there's some magic to just allowing things to happen and not having any expectations beyond the basics, Michael. So that's what I was saying.
No, totally understand. That's why I was asking the question, because I'm always open for trying new things. Like if you're interested in going like whitewater rafting with me, you want to go canoeing, want to go on a road trip, I'm great. I'm not a person to be like, hey, let's sit around and watch Netflix. Like I'll be like, nah. Like me, I'm not a person. I don't like going to the movie theaters. I like to do a lot of action stuff because that's what I do. But that could be my expectation, like hoping that they have that type of flair and action and energy that I would expect for, instead of just being a homebody. So I get what you're saying.
Well, y'all listen to it, ladies. You got Michael bringing me to Atlanta. He likes to do adventurous stuff. All right, Christian man. You see all these Christian men. Y'all say y'all ain't got none. Come on, Krishan.
Israel.
Talk to us.
It sounds
I'll get
like
you one quick in Mustafa. Let's listen to Krishan.
Yeah, RJ, it sounds like you're talking about conditions. And they
excuse me, hon. No, I'm not talking about conditions. I'm talking about the opposite of that. That's what I'm saying. We've been talking about conditions, but I'm saying, other than the basics, like me and Michael kind of hashed out, that we should just leave things to chance, okay, and not really have any line.
I wasn't saying that you thought that there should be conditions. I was saying that you were talking about if I pay this date, then on the condition that I'm expecting you.
No, sweetheart. I was referring back to Natalie's original conversation. I think this is true.
Okay.
Where we were talking about somebody saying, well, if she doesn't pay on the second date, then I'm through with her. I'm saying that should not even be in your mind. That should not be in your mind at all.
Okay. So I was looking at the chat as well, and I hear that everybody's kind of talking about giving. And so one thing that I think is a little bit different is there's a difference between being considerate and being a giver. So like a lot of the things that you were talking about, Jay, that's being considerate of other people. Mm-hmm. That's being mindful, that's being thoughtful. Giving, I think, is thrown out around a lot when it's actually not always giving. Just because you're doing something for someone else, like, oh, I did this for this person, I lent them this money, whatever it is that you did, it's not always a generosity thing. Sometimes people do it because there was a few people on the chat that were talking about, I don't accept because I don't want to owe them anything. And that's why some people do it, because they want, they're tallying. Mm-hmm. And so then when they don't get what they want in return, then it becomes an issue of, I did all this for you and you don't care about me and you're not doing for me. And it's like, well, I didn't even want the things that you gave. Because to Jay's point, are you doing things that actually speak to me and my desires and what I care about? Or are you giving what you want to give because that's what's comfortable for you, convenient for you, or whatever? That's not the same thing. And it's hard sometimes for people to get that, because I've been in situations like, not even necessarily, sometimes it was friendships where they felt like, oh, I'm like, but I didn't want that from you. And then on top of that, that definitely doesn't mean that now I owe you things that I don't feel comfortable giving. But that is sometimes the misnomer in those situations where a person feels like, because I'm doing things for other people, that I'm a giver. And in fact, it's actually very selfish, because they're trying to create a situation where they're leveraging and they're creating this, they're banking these things so that they can then have these expectations of getting what they want, even though it's not something you're comfortable giving. And they're not being considerate of you as a person, not being comfortable or okay with giving what they are expecting, and then try to manipulate you to feel guilty about they did all these things for you and you're not now reciprocating in the way they want to, even though you didn't actually want what they gave in the beginning.
Ms. T, could I ask a question? And this may be a question for the room as well. Do you believe that, and I'm in a boat of this, do you believe that all relationships are transactional? Friendships, family, relationships?
I don't think successful relationships are transactional. I think that if you are in a healthy relationship, then it's going to be give and take on both sides, for the simple fact that I don't care how truly unselfish you are, there are going to be times in your life where you're going to need someone. And if you're in a relationship with a person, whatever type of relationship it is, friendship, love, whatever, if their constant expectation is that, well, you're always the one that gives and I'm always the one that takes, then what happens when you're in that situation where you need them and now they're not equipped or unwilling to reciprocate? So I think that it's really what was said earlier about outgiving each other to say, all right, so, and it's never going to be 50-50. It's always going to be, kind of a back and forth thing because of whatever's going on, job situation, family situation, somebody passes on, whatever the thing is going on. The point is that there's trust and knowledge that, okay, I know that this person has me. And I can trust that I don't have to worry about, well, what's going to happen when I'm in need, that I don't have anyone to turn to. And that's where I think you have to be careful about how selfless you are, in that I don't think you need to make it transactional, but I think you do need to be honest about, is this person in my life because of all the things I'm doing for them? Or are they in my life because of who I am and the fact that they appreciate and love me for who I am.
Yeah, one real quick thing I want to say. First of all, Tashawn has some really great presentations she's going to be doing in a couple of weeks. Y'all don't want to miss Tashawn when she does her presentations. And then right after that, I will say, just to give Tashawn's situation an example, and that's why I was saying you need to understand the specific emotional needs of the person, because they're only going to respond to your needs. And I'm going to give you an example of this, and I can say this with my own father. My father, I sent him a while back, I sent him about 6 months ago, a card. And in the card, it didn't say much of the card, but I spent about the other side of the card just writing down all of the things that I loved about him being my father, and the fact that he had been there and he had done the right things to raise me up the right way. And I just appreciated that. That card cost me literally $3, even with the stamp, to send it to Memphis. It was probably $3. My dad talked about that card over and over again. He cried when he read it. Everything was given to him like he needed it. Recently, the Tennessee Titans, I thought they were going to have a chance to run into the Super Bowl. And so I bought my dad a jersey with his name on the back for the Tennessee Titans. And if anybody knows about NFL jerseys, they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all. Okay, so I buy him this, get it sent to him. What does he do? Why you buy me a t-shirt? Well, thank you, son. I appreciate it. Blah, blah, blah. Because the whole thing is, that's not what makes him tick. And see, that's one of those things when you deal with these transactional relationships and all these giving, you have to understand, what does the person want from you? Some people don't want things. They want appreciation. They want encouragement. That for me, I want help. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love help. So a woman that helps me, helps to clean up, will cook for me. Oh man, you're just coming to the highest high. But I don't need your money. You know, I don't need those types of things. So you got to realize, what does the person that you're with want? And are you willing to give them what they need? Not about what you need, it's what they need. Okay, so come on, Toylan, and then after Toylan is Mustafa. Come on, Toylan.
Ooh, hey, this goes back to I said, yeah, we're not talking enough, right? When you going out on, before you go out on a date, right? How many conversations are you having before you say, hey, let's go, let's meet somewhere, or let's go here, or let's go there, right? We having those conversations, you'll know, hey, let's say, hey, how many times do we have to do this before? Do you want to pay for dinner and I pay for dinner? How many times is appropriate for you, right? And if that person say, hey, I don't believe in paying for dinner for a guy. Okay, if you're a guy that feel like a woman needs to pay for a dinner, then you know, hey, maybe I don't need to be going out with this person. But if you're a woman that says, hey, I don't mind paying for the second date, right? That's no big thing to me. And you that guy that looks for that, that's a woman that you want to say, hey, I want to go out on a date with. You don't necessarily, you can talk to a person a week, maybe 2 weeks before you say, hey, let's go out and have a date. The date could be over the phone. You have a phone interview first before you meet up with a person.
He did not say phone interview.
Before you do a Zoom call with the person that's going to hire you for a job, right? So why not use the same principles? Two, for me, let me not say men, for me, I look for the equality in a relationship, because the Bible said we are both submitted to one another. I view that as, hey, if I pay 3 times, you should offer the 3rd time. But I'm going to find out if you want to pay, right? Because we're going in this to an equal in a total submission of both of us as unto Christ. Thirdly, I'm gonna say this: what difference does it make who pays for the dinner? We have this mindset traditionally. Hey, if a man has to pay when we go out on a date all the time, and women are like, well, yeah, you can't show me that you that you can support me if you can't even pay for dinner, right? Hogwash. I hate it. Me personally, I hate it. Let's go into a relationship, having a conversation, talking to one another, and finding out what are the likes and what are the dislikes, what are the expectations and what are not the expectations. And then that way we won't be getting mixed up and saying, hey, I went out on this date with this fool and he wanted me to pay on the second date. Well, if you'd had a conversation about it, you wouldn't have to worry about going in what you call so-called a fool, because another one might say he's not a fool. I like him. I want to be equally to him, and we good. So I'm just saying, it gets on my nerve when we have this conversation about who pays and who does not pay. And finally, if you pay, you paying with a good heart, look at it as a seed that you plant, and that seed gonna eventually come back up to you, and we move on. I'm done.
Okay, so that was cool. So
Question.
I'm gonna move over to Stephanie. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Question. Yes, I wanted to know pretty much what the protocol is in the room with the number of people that we have when it comes to speaking. Because I had wanted to call after Mustafa to be next call to speak. I don't have the hand feature, so I just wanted some clarification on that.
Okay, no problem. I'll call on you right after I get through at least April. And then I'll go to Nikki. I mean, since Mustafa was up there for a while. So we'll do Stephanie, then April, then you, Shelly, and then Nikita, the Illuminist. Okay, so come on, Stephanie.
In the future, do you just put your name in the chat that you, or say that you want to speak? How does that work in the future?
I mean, if I see you in the chat, if you put your question there, or because I see Tata wants to say something too, but it's not a true question. It's just a but if you put your question over there and I see it, I'll do my best to talk about it. But you can also just send it to everybody, and if we see it, we'll try to talk about it.
Okay, so tomorrow a comment.
Okay. So yeah, sorry. I know we're a little confused now. Come on,
Stephanie. Oh no, it's Mustafa, right?
Is it me?
Stephanie, then April. Mustafa said he can't talk right now. And then we'll go to Mustafa in a minute. But come on, Stephanie.
I think a lot of people said a few things that I was thinking of, but one of the things I really learned out of this conversation was just maybe it's less about, what we think personally, should I pay, should I not pay, and more, I think someone else has already alluded to this, more about how do we handle these things and how do we talk about them? Because a lot of things that people were bringing up, for me, it ties back to some of the first slides that you presented about how you were trained and how you were brought up. Like in my household, in my culture, in my little circle, is it insulting to pay for something? Or would I be insulted if you came to my house and you went and got a glass of water? I'd feel like I was a terrible host. Like, you don't live here, you're not my roommate until you move in. It's my job to serve you and make sure you're comfortable. So I just, from everything everyone was saying, was what I took away was really like creating a better understanding of where people are coming from and having a conversation with someone where it's like, well, what does this mean for you when this happens? Or how do you interpret it? And what do we do together to build this shared experience, whether we're dating, just friends, or, my sister came here last night and spent the night and I was like, oh, let me get you water. Let me get you this. Here's this. There's like extra toiletries in the bathroom. You forgot your toothbrush? It's there. But that's, like a me thing and a culture thing. Not everybody interprets those things the same way. So when you were saying, Jay, like that people wouldn't pick up around the house or things, I just realized that there are things that I may be interpreting about people when I'm out with them that may not be what they're actually trying to say. And so there's value in having the conversation about what this means, what the expectations are, and maybe just being more flexible and getting towards the middle. And then the other thing that I thought was very interesting is the great thing about being in Atlanta is that there are all these cultures, but the challenging thing about dating is that you have to weed through all these cultures that are not like yours. And so it's, just a challenging experience, which I think a couple people have said, but I think definitely worth it to think through what these things really mean and where people are coming from. So thank you.
I think that was good. But one thing I'll say really quick before I go to April, and I guess Toylan was trying to clear this up, but I guess I didn't from my own mouth, so I will. When somebody comes over here, by the time you get to the third time you're around me, I literally walk you into the kitchen. I say, here are the glasses, here is this, here are the spoons and forks. I actually walk you through because I'm literally trying to show you in that moment, I don't want to do this for you anymore.
Okay, no, that makes sense. But don't come to my house and do that because everything is lined up and
unless you have that conversation with me.
I will bring to you. I will bring it on a tray. Don't come in here.
I know, but that's my point though. I mean, I think Toylin's point was have the discussion.
Yeah.
And see what happens a lot of times when people are dating, they're not having the discussion.
Yeah.
But see, I will have that discussion with you. And I will basically say like I say, in my area, I want you to be like you're at home. 100%. I do not want to overly serve you after a few times. I want you to feel just like you're at home. Act like you're at home. Go into the kitchen. If you want to cook breakfast, get your butt up, cook breakfast. If you want to cook lunch, cook lunch. If you want to cook dinner, cook dinner. Okay, if you want to sweep my floor, knock it out. Okay, if you want to clean my bathroom, it is there for you, boo. If you want to pay my rent, you are welcome to do it. Okay, you are at home. So all I'm saying is I'm going to make sure that you understand that. And once you understand that, then you're responsible for it. And I think that is what Toyland is saying. And that's what I was trying to say. What people generally do in a relationship is that they're trying to tell you how to treat them. So when I am basically showing a woman around my apartment, it doesn't matter what you do in your apartment, Stephanie. I'm basically showing you in my apartment, this is how it runs. So when you're over here, like if you were over here, then you would be like, hold on, I know in my apartment I serve, but Jay don't like to serve constantly.
No, that's definitely, we're on the same page. And what I would say, I think you probably communicate a lot more your expectations and why you're doing this and what it means, but I didn't know that other people were I was just wondering if other people were saying, this is what it means to me when you pay for the second date, or I don't want you to do this because it's insulting. It wasn't like a personal thing. I think we're like I feel like we're probably saying the same thing.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm just trying to make sure everybody says it, because I'm also the type of person that I'll even say with dates. I will tell women straight up, as long as we're not in a relationship, if we're just dating, and people on the call have heard me say this, you do not have to worry about paying for a date. I say that. I'll tell the woman straight up. And then she'll like, well, how long does it take to be in a relationship? And I was like, we will both decide at a time if we are in a relationship. It will not be us hanging out and then 9 weeks later, 15 weeks later, 10 months later, we're like, it's in a relationship. No, if we're hanging out for 10 months and we have not had the conversation, we are dating. We're not in a relationship.
Hey, Jay.
Okay, what's up, Stan?
Hey, yeah. Sorry about that, because I had technical difficulty before. But if you're hanging out with a woman for that many months and you have not set an expectation, now you could be in the friend zone. And from my experience, once you're in the friend zone, it's no turning back. And to answer or to address Steph, Natalie, and Deirdre about the whole thing with the dating and picking up the check, I agree with Natalie 100%. I get after giving that more thought, because I just want to see some type of indication that you're feeling me and not just taking advantage of me, because we've all been jaded before at some point, even as men. And I don't have a problem picking up the tab. If I ask you out, I'm ready to pay the tab. But now on the flip side, if you ask me out as a man, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm thinking you're going to pick up the bill. Now, I'm still going to have my money just in case, but you have to, if you set the standard, if you initiate it, then I think you should be prepared to pay.
Yeah, well, I think, hold on, because we got some people waiting, so I want to make sure I'm getting to people as well. So sorry about
Shelly. Did Shelly go?
Yeah, we need Shelly and also April, and also Mustafa's ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think I said April, then Shelly. So go ahead, April, then we'll do Shelly.
What about Sean? Sean put his hands up.
Yeah, but he didn't put his hand up. I'm looking at the order I have on my thing. So I'm sorry, Sean, if I got you slightly out of order. But right now, for me, it's April, then Shelly, and then Nikita. because we need to make sure that we're getting everybody. And also for those that have to drop off, it is 1 o'clock. For those that know this hung out with us, we talk forever. So you don't have to get off, you can hang out, but we are at the 1 o'clock spot right now. So we're gonna do April, then Shelly, then Nikita. So sorry about that for some of this order, guys, but we've had people going in and out, having their hands up and then their hands down. Go ahead, April.
Okay, thanks for letting me speak. I'm glad that you cleared that up, Jay, because I was a little bit concerned. I feel exactly like Stephanie did. And so at the risk of being redundant, I'm just going to say I concur with Stephanie. And the last gentleman who spoke, I agree with you as well. If I invite you, I am prepared to pay. And so at this point, go to the next person. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's like I say, I think the biggest thing, again, as Toylan said, just make it clear. Just make it clear. It only takes 2 seconds to say, I believe in men paying, or I believe in women paying, or blah, blah, blah. Because like I say, I'll just tell them. That's just how I work. And then once that's over, then it's over. Come on, Shelly.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to comment on a couple of the slides. I'll start with the last one with the giver versus the taker. So on that one, I was thinking actually about this a couple of weeks ago myself personally. And I just wanted to share that just in general, before it even comes to meeting someone, and this is like something that was kind of revealed to me, a revelation myself personally that I got, when it comes to just meeting people in general, like going to the grocery store, that kind of thing. I think we live in a society where we have that mentality of what's in it for me. And so when someone comes up, either party, speaking from, I guess, the female's perspective more so, when men come up to women, and it's like, okay, already there's that vibe and that feel of, okay, there's a different motive other than just trying to meet that person versus, just a simple, hi, how are you doing kind of thing. And so with that being said, a giver versus taker, I'm even taking it a step back versus even just being in the dating itself, when you've already have that partner, that person that you're dating, just the initial of getting to actually know that person, that stranger. So it's almost a thing of, okay, how are you as a person initially? Because a lot of people in general tend to be takers more so, whether they realize it or not, even just initially meeting someone. It's like, okay, well, what's in it for me? I like person, I don't even know them, I'm looking at them, and it's like, well, let me go over there and talk to them. And it's one thing, if your motives are just, hi, how are you doing, versus hi, how are you doing, your number, can I get this, can I get that? It's like, okay, what about the giver side versus just the taking even initially? So already a person might have their defenses up. So the opposite of that, like in a grocery store, okay, I see that you were shopping, you've got your basket, let me put that up for you. As an example, just wanted to share that. And then of course, we give and take different things like our time, that kind of thing, so forth. So for me, when it comes to time, that's my most important thing, even over money. It's like, okay, did I waste my time? Are we wasting each other's time here? It's like money I can always get back. And then I wanted to just mention thing of being nice to other people. I overall consider myself nice, and I like to also help people. But with that being said too, I do want to also add, depending on one's personality, that could be a liability in the sense of, okay, going back to myself as an experience, it's like for me, this relationship, first and last relationship that I had that only lasted a month, it's like I end up in my niceness, taking a stray home. So with that being said, he had multiple personalities and other things going on with that. So in that relationship itself, that pretty much lifted the veil of Walt Disney deception from my eyes. And I learned a lot in that crash course with that relationship. So just going back to pretty much also being nice, I would say, Just my tidbit of advice, if you know your personality and, you often get taken advantage of, might want to step back and kind of reflect and so forth. I know I learned a lot from that in itself. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
No, that was good because that's kind of what I was saying. I think, if you do know that you're an over giver type of personality, you have to kind of take it very easy in the beginning. And I think that's kind of what, Natalie was getting to as well. And what we were talking about, because we've, had this conversation with some of the groups, that part of the conversation with some people before in the group. But yeah, I don't want to wait too much longer. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Nikita and then Mustafa and then Davida. So go ahead, Nikita.
Hey guys, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Okay, so I wrote some things down because there was a lot of nuggets going on. And I was driving, so I was trying to remember everything. But there is a big difference in being nice and kind. Okay. Niceness comes from a place of being a people pleaser. You want to be seen in a certain way. So you are nice even to your detriment, right? There's nothing wrong with being kind. You know what I mean? Like you generally want to do things that are helpful to others, things of that nature. However, being nice, if you notice, that you're doing these things for a reason, then it kind of leads to you being taken advantage of. And also, like so many people said today here on the conversation, you've had discernment. I feel like a lot of people are walking around with wounds. And so you're going into dating like, oh, I'm not going to let them do me how so-and-so did. Or, oh, they remind me of such and such, because you have not healed from these circumstances. And knowing when someone is taking advantage of you, you feel when somebody is getting over on you. You feel when you're giving of yourself and someone is taking it too readily or too often with nothing in return. So therein, when you come from a healed place, it is your responsibility to then pull back. That doesn't mean don't go in as your authentic self. It's so much conversation about who gonna pay and who ain't gonna pay. And if you're not financially stable to be in the dating pool, you shouldn't be in it, period. Male or female. So, if you're not ready to, be able to pay for a gentleman sometime, or, if you're not ready to take a female out on a date, then you don't have to habitually date. Maybe in your budget, you say, okay, I'm gonna have one date a month. It's not nobody's fault that you burning up, your finances because you keep on going out on these dates. We're not dating with intentions, right? So as we have these conversations, like, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Toylan, please excuse me. Like Toylan said, we have conversations before we even step outside. So these conversations, it's not, oh, how is the day going? What's going on with this or what's going on with that? I'm asking you questions about who you are, who you want in a mate. What are things that, don't give all the game away, because then people can morph into this person that they think that you want them to be, but asking them questions about, where do you want to go in relationships and different things like that, so that it's understood. And then you're not going out like, oh, this person is trying to, use or abuse me. So it really just doesn't matter. Like if you go out as your authentic self, I'm not worried about you doing nothing dirty to me. I'm not worried about you getting over on me or who paying or you taking too much, because this is who I am authentically. You feel me? If you mess it up, then that's your business. I'm gonna move on to the next person who, is appreciative of what I have to give and then gives in turn. So I think that first and foremost, we need to do the work to heal from these past relationships. We need to go with God and do the work within ourselves to have discernment, to be tapped in, to know what is going on, so that when things do happen or things are out of alignment, you can feel that. You can feel who really people are. You can feel if somebody is digging you second or third day. You can feel that. And so not being so desperate and passing by these feelings and the unctionings of God because you want to be in a relationship, or you want to go outside, or you want to do these things so bad that you are, piling on more things to have biases and develop hurts and wounds about. We really need to get it together and then develop friendships first. You know, who cares who paid for the second date, or oh, if you didn't do the second, then I'm not fooling with you. If we homies, if we kicking it, we should dang near be fighting like, oh, you got my tacos today? All right, cool. Next time I got your milkshake. Okay, we going to, you know what? We never been to this nice restaurant, and let's dress up and let's go there. You know what I'm saying? And let's do Dutch until it's solidified. Because like someone else said, people do things sometimes to tally up points. If you're not genuinely kind, if you're not genuinely wanting to do these things because of the person that you are, then just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't go out and basically try to manipulate the situation into a situationship or what you want to see. Come out as your authentic self, and very soon thereafter, you're going to see who's going to mesh with you and who's going to fall in line. And don't take things personal. If you like Jay said, if you're not for me, you're a great guy, great person. You're a great woman, excellent woman, but you're just not for me. And it's okay. You know what I mean? And I'm not like, oh, well, I didn't spend such and such a money on you, and this ain't even going nowhere. That's your bag. That's all I had to say.
Drop the mic, girl. Drop the mic.
Nikita, I got two pushbacks for you.
Let me go. I gotta keep it moving. The only thing I just wanted to say real quick about Nikita and on this money issue. Again, everybody with who's paying and who's not paying, that's a stronghold.
Right.
But you think it's supposed to be a certain way because of your culture. That is not of God. It has nothing to do with God. Okay? That is a stronghold. It's a stronghold in your mind to think that men are supposed to pay, or the woman's supposed to pay, or y'all supposed to go Dutch, and blah, blah, blah. All that is a stronghold. Now, like I say, some guys don't care. Some women don't care. It really doesn't matter. The whole point of a lot of this unseen enemy thing is to get you guys to release that, let that go. Focus on the person.
Absolutely.
So that, you can move to where you're trying to go. So we're about to go to Mustafa, but before I went to Mustafa, I just wanted to say what's up to Tawana. I haven't seen her in a minute, so just want to say what's up to her down there.
How are you?
Good. So come on, Mustafa.
Yeah, I was trying to rush it because my phone is about to die. But like this. So a lot of good stuff is being said here. I'm really learning. I'm really applying some of these things, and some of the first things. If I stop along the way, my phone died. I'm just letting you know, FYI. But so number one, I think when we talk about the whole paying thing, here's the thing, right? Not every date has to be a meal. You know what I'm saying? Not every day has to be a dinner. As a matter of fact, you don't have to pay for anything to get to know somebody. If someone doesn't have enough substance to take a walk in the park, you good. You know what I mean? Like take a walk in the park and just get to know the person. And then y'all could go from there. Ice cream for both of y'all that maybe costs what, $2 a piece? $4, you'd be happy. You ain't have to pay nothing, and you would get to know the person that you need to get to know. But taking somebody out to dinner, that's stereotype. That's even like what JL says. It's like that's all societal stuff. Or you got to take me out on a dinner, or you got to take me to the bar. It doesn't have to be like that. There's plenty of things you can do that are free. I used to date a girl back when I used to stay in Baltimore as well. Shout out to Baltimore because I went to Morgan. And I used to date a girl for quite a long time. It was getting to a point, serious, living together, everything. But in the first stages, I always told her like, yo, you don't have to spend money all the time. Because this is when I'm in school. I'm a college student. I'm broke. So every time I got to spend money, I have to be conscious of that. And I'm like, yo, we don't have to like go here and go there and spend money to spend time with each other and get to know each other. We can always do things and that without even having to spend a single thing. We can go and look at a view. We can go and look at a skyscraper and just enjoy each other's company. And so that's one thing as well. Now, when it actually comes to paying, if someone would have to pay, just like we were just talking about the whole stronghold thing, that's especially now when both parties are working more and both genders are making money, right? I don't even think that should really be an issue anymore, right? If you're a working woman and I'm a working man, I don't really see why there's that problem. That's a stereotype. It's like, why does he have to do that? You know what I mean? Why does he have to? And come to find out, you might be surprised, even what we're talking about now. Like, I think some people were mentioning it, like if a woman on the second date, I'm just quote unquote, like if a woman on the second date doesn't even at least like seek to pay, right? Some women are onto that. Like they'll be like, oh, let me reach for the check, but she has no intention of paying, bro. She has no intention. She's just reaching, pretending like. So don't get caught up in that, because you gonna play yourself. So yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say. I don't want my phone to die while I'm talking, so I kind of regret.
That's cool. We got some more people coming. No, that was real good, man. Mustafa, man, he's the bomb. You know, for all the new people. You know, he pops in, young guy too, with a lot of wisdom, And see, women, if y'all pay, you know, y'all can be a little bit more picky. You know, with the men, you know, y'all can make sure we looking good. You know, I might have to go out and get me one of those man weaves. You know, since I lost all my hair, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that the women are happy and all that kind of good fun stuff. Come on, Davida.
Please don't, Jay. Please don't.
First of all, hi everybody. I'm up to here. This has been such a great discussion today. I'm overflowing. I'm actually getting kind of a headache because I got so many ideas and so much to say, but I'm gonna try to condense some of it. Let's go back to givers and takers. And you went in and you said about the cats and the dogs, and I know you were speaking figuratively about that one. Because it resonated with me because I actually have cats. And what it is, I will explain, because I like all animals, but all animals, humans, men, women, have a different nature. And so you can't generalize. And I will say about cats, the thing is, you have to, a dog, you could kick them and they still gonna say, oh, let's play, I love you. A cat, you have to earn their respect. So in that regards, I'm a cat, okay? Because you're not gonna keep kicking me and then I'm gonna be like pressed to be with you. No, that's not what's gonna happen. But there are people, you said something about some people have the need to be needed. And so they attract people who take because they are givers by nature. I know that I'm a giver by my nature, but some people don't need to be needed, but they do recognize their own resourcefulness. And I think that a woman who is living according to God's will and purpose knows that she is a resource and she's there to be a helpmeet for a man. And so whenever you engage with a man, you're always looking at him like, where do I fit in? What can I do to help this man? You know, if he's a man who already cooks, you say, he don't need me to cook a meal. But if he's like you, Jay, and he appreciates a good meal and everything, I'm like, okay, that's definitely something where I could jump in and be resourceful to this person. And so during the dating process, you know, you might give a little meal here or there because you want him to know I'm viable in that area. You know, it's something that you could benefit from if we come together. And so I just wanted to put that out there because people feel like, oh, like I know Natalie's also a giver like me. I have put my heart on my shoulder 50 million times and it will get knocked over because people sometimes try to take advantage of us. But the thing is, never not be yourself. When we give not just to a man that we potentially see as a partner in life, we give to everybody. Everybody that knows me knows that my girlfriends know, my family members know, the children that I work with at school know. And so you continue to be yourself because even if one of those people in those arenas are not appreciative or you feel like they're taking advantage and you can recognize when they are, somebody in one of those arenas is giving back to you. It's like you pay it forward. You pay it forward and you be who God called you to be. We are of Christ's nature. I said that in the chat because someone placed in the chat, you know, is it our nature to be takers? Yeah, the sinful nature. But if we're not living in that anymore, you got to work hard maybe to be a giver. Some people are just naturally givers, but we supposed to flip that thing and we supposed to give anyway. And one day somebody's going to give it back to you. Now, hold on, because I got a whole lot. Oh, yeah, out of our abundance of your heart is that's why you give, not because you expect something in return. But I mean, it's the dichotomy of it. But be on the lookout for those who are constantly taken from you as well. I want to say something to y'all. It's personal. Okay. So, because I always try to tell you, and I'm gonna write a book about it. So I went on a date recently. It was maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. It was the 49ers was playing the Cowboys. Y'all saw that game?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, right?
We could tell you already went bad.
Yeah. So I had met somebody, my sister and I, because we're both we bookworms, we don't really go out. So my sister and I have made a conscious effort to go out to actually be seen by men. Because if it wasn't for me and her, we wouldn't go anywhere but grocery store, church, school, and work and home. So we go out to eat, and we met some guys at the bar because not that we're drinkers, but there was no place else to sit at the restaurant. And so we had nice conversation. It was about 8 people at the bar at the restaurant, men and women, and we exchanged numbers. And so for like a 2-week period, the guy and I talked on the phone, and then he invited me and my sister and said he was having a football party at his house. So we're thinking we got a lot of people going to be at the house. He called me about 2 hours before. He said, you and your sister, no, he said, do you eat seafood? And I said, yeah. He said, because I'm on my way to go pick it up right now. And I said, well, I do. I said, but my sister is severely allergic. She can't be around it. She's going to be sick and be put in the hospital. So he said, well, I don't know what she's going to do then, because I'm already spent my money to go get the seafood. Okay. So I need y'all to listen to all these points. Why is y'all laughing like that?
Vita, I feel triggered right now, but go ahead.
Exactly. So my sister and I don't live together. So we came in separate cars. I got there first. Now, this is the thing. First of all, it was no party. It was 2 guys and me and my sister. I didn't like that. I wasn't ready for that one-on-one type thing. Number 1. Number 2, he lives in a very nice part of town. He is a very expensive home. So I feel like he put me there because he wanted to impress me. He did let me know he's making over $150 a year. And I said, look, I said, y'all got to clean this up right here. I said, because she's on her way and she'll get sick if she gets here. He got a serious attitude with me because he said, I spent all this money on this food. You tell me she can't eat it. That's an example of somebody who's giving, I guess. They feel like they spent money, but it wasn't for me because I didn't ask for all that. I'm a very simple lady, And I didn't ask you to spend $500 for 4 people for some crabs and some shrimp, but you was showboating. You was trying to show me something,
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I'll say I'm sharing this because if you start to date people, which I think that we all should just try and get out and meet different people, you're going to run into a myriad of scenarios, and you have to use that discernment. Somebody else said that about discernment, about what to do, because a lesser woman, I feel like, would have been impressed with that, but I was not. And then, needless to say, that was January the 15th, I think the game was, or the 14th. He and I had one conversation after that. It did not go well, and I haven't heard from him since. Because I was not impressed with that. And then it snowed real bad here. He wouldn't even come outside and clean off my car. I had to clean my own car.
Even if the money was impressive or the meal, you don't know what my sister gonna do. My sister.
Yes, exactly. My sister. And that's what I'm saying. No, this is what I'm saying. For the 2 weeks or 3 weeks that we talked on the phone, it seemed like a good conversation. We have like an hour conversation here or there, and then we finally decided to meet up again. And I saw who this person, what they were really about. So it's going to take some time. You're not going to be able to see right off the break after a conversation or one conversation here or there. It took for that scenario for me to see, no, this is not a person for me. They're not considerate of my sister. This person is showboating, and he's generally accustomed to dealing with women who are impressed by that. You know, I'm not up in my 6 digits, nowhere near it, but I don't care because I don't like you as a person. You know, I don't like the way you treat me and the way you parade yourself around me, you know, but maybe you do something better with somebody else. So that's all I was going to say. Like, sometimes people give the illusion that they're doing for you, but they have an ulterior motive, and that we as women need to look out for that. I guess as guys, I mean, yeah, women do the same thing. They might give a little bit on the front end, but they're expecting you to pay their bills, you know? They might give a little physicalities just to make sure that you give them what they need at the end of the day.
That's true. Well, come on, Sean.
I like
we got more to Sean. Sean was next. Sorry. Come on, Sean.
Okay. Well, this is a question. I know we've moved on from this, but I was going to ask about the transaction. I think I have an understanding of it because I don't hear this term very often. So is it considered a transaction? Is transactional if you're say expecting gratitude? And I don't mean monetarily speaking. I mean, like if whether you're in a dating or even a platonic relationship, and you're doing things for somebody, would you expect them to at least show gratitude either by doing stuff back or just simply saying thank you? And I'll take anybody's comment on that.
What's gratitude, Sean? What's gratitude?
Oh, well, gratitude means like if
is it just thank you, or is it?
It can be either. I mean,
okay, because sometimes
a positive reaction.
Okay, because sometimes they are looking for a lot of appreciation.
Some people do, yes, they do.
I
agree.
They consider to be gratitude, but if it's acknowledgments, like acknowledge that I did do something. Don't just act like I owe you.
That's right.
And yeah. So I'm sorry, Michael, you about to say something.
No, that's what it was. I was when I was saying in comments, because I brought the word transactional. It could be, hey, I did this. Can I just have peace of mind? Can I come home and not be a war zone when I come home? Can I have just to show your attention, quality time? Like, hey, quality time, just be like, listen, if I spend 5 minutes, if I cook something for you, or I just spend 2 hours on the phone with you, hey, can we just hang out for an hour just so I can just sit back and talk to you? Because a lot of times women would say, men don't tell their problems, their feelings, because we haven't built up store credit to be able to let go. And so I feel as though if you're doing things, and not if you're doing things to say, okay, I'm building up good credit with this person, so they could be able to either bring their walls down or be able to show some level of trust that they could be able to open up even more, or show a side of themselves that they probably haven't showed before.
Natalie, we're ready to go in on you, Michael.
No, these terminologies is store credit, a phone interview. Like I can't.
I didn't go out the word breadcrumbing yet. But that's another one.
Uh-oh.
Natalie, I'm thinking the same thing.
Where you at?
Oh my gosh.
We're ready to call on her. She gone. So let's go to your question, Michael. Then I'll come back to Shanara because she. Do you have another question?
I think it was either Natalie or somebody was mentioning. Oh Lord, we was going back. They was mentioning something about. No, I think maybe it was Luminous. We were talking about on the dates as far as expecting certain things or doing certain things. And correct me if I'm wrong, Luminous. I could be wrong. I think the pushback is that when it comes to I just speak on my behalf. When it comes to dating and things of that nature, being able to be, being assertive or letting people know your needs and wants is important. I don't expect things in return because I always give people say, hey, I knew you was not going to come. I always come in like, nah, I knew you was not going to show up. Oh, I knew you was not going to do that. And then that turns the person to say, oh, wow, you know what? You proved me wrong. I wasn't expecting you to come in the clutch like that. You proved me wrong. And that actually goes a long way than throwing all these things. I know you could do it. I know you got this and stuff like that, because you're looking for the big fall. So I go with like no expectations or low expectations, and hopefully somebody will be able to blow my expectations out of the water. And that's how I do it.
All right, everybody got this. Come on, Shanara. She's standing up with her drink.
Shanara, tell Sean what a baller is before you make your question. Ask your question.
I'm sorry. Hey, it's Shanara actually. Now, what
Shanara.
Want me talking about what?
Sean want to know what a baller is.
A baller?
Yeah. What's a baller?
A baller. Oh, brother who just got it like that.
Break it down for Sean B.
Break
it down for him.
Like he got it like that. Remember that old song by Jermaine Dupri, "The Money Ain't a Thing."
There you go.
That's an old school song for money ain't a thing. Money ain't a thing for a baller. Anyway,
I had one of them. Get whatever you like.
There you go.
Whatever you like.
Yeah.
Throw it in the bag.
Well, go ahead, Shanara. What's your question / comment?
And so many people that went before me, I think they pretty much said everything, especially Sister Nikita, the Illuminist, Brother Michael Wofford, boom. I guess I'm just gonna add a little tacky little ribbon, a bow on top of it. I think that a lot of this could be just made much more simpler. And I'm gonna be real hokey pokey, real deep dumb spiritual here. It's about, and I hate to say this because this ain't my belief system, but it's a point. When Oprah be like, the flow, like being in the flow of stuff, right? So I feel like if you want to pay on the first day, sis, in the flow of it, do it, right? Bruh, especially if you get it like that, and you can pay all the time in the flow of things because things is right, pay. Why is we going back and forth about first date, second date, blah, 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 blah. And I think it's because our unhealed areas are popping up. Or maybe our pockets is popping up. If you ain't got it like that, then you need to be on your game, your real game. The real quote unquote game to me is if you ain't got it, but you got it. You know what I'm saying? I was saying much earlier. I was like, listen, I'm real simple. If you get these Beyond Chicken Nuggets, because I'm plant-based for like 10 years almost, man, if you could find the Beyond Chicken Nuggets, JD's ice cream, because it's hard to find it out here in the Walmarts. If you get them two things, get my picnic set up out here in McCurry Park at Fayetteville, get the chill hop instrumentals from YouTube, and we laughing our butt off in the park. That's a $20 setup versus the baller who can't hold conversation, who caught up in himself. I'm just saying, it's like all this other ego and people putting all this other stuff in front of it. We just go with the flow sometime. I'm probably dumbing it down way simpler, but and another wise woman said, and I'm about to paraphrase a lot, I hope you guys know who I'm talking about. She said she was in a relationship for, I don't know, at least a decade. And it finally unraveled. And she said something about all the time she was blaming this person for not providing her needs. When the thing is that she knew years ago that this person wasn't capable. She already saw that this is where he was with, but she decided to stay. So it's really our decision to see that this is their capacity and make the decision to, if you decide to stay and that's their capacity, then guess whose fault it is? It's yours. It's not that they're a bad person. They just not at the place to give you what you need, or they're probably not compatible to give you what you need. So bounce, no hard feelings. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I can go for a long time, but not necessary. I've been chopping it up in the chat anyway.
No, I mean, I love it. I love it. I mean, you just forgot to talk about the $30 that it's gonna cost in gas to get way out there to Fayetteville.
Right.
It ain't gonna cost now. Listen, it don't cost me that much because I got a Prius. I'm from California recently, so I don't have to fill up much. But a brother gonna have to invest in that gas. And what's
I'm
gas?
joking though. Y'all joking though.
Can't you see you gonna have a great time with me anyway? Hey,
I gotta keep it light, you know what I'm saying? We gotta make sure that we don't argue and fuss and fight. You know, too much tension in the room, you know, mess it up. It's the same thing with Michael over there, you know, showing off his muscles while he cooking. He's trying to show you ladies that not only can he cook,
Michael.
that he works out. So, you know, see, this is one of them things where I be telling people to turn their camera on because see, Michael gonna be getting, you know, hooked up in the chat. I'm sure some women are already DM'd them. See, that's why some of you ladies y'all need to have them cameras on so y'all can get some attention.
JL is an instigator.
See,
look, he's showing you he can cook. That's a brother that can cook.
And she said she met someone at the bar.
See, I'm trying to hook y'all up.
Y'all are
Yo,
hilarious.
Drina, you saying something?
Yeah.
So what's up?
I met at the bar, and there was no other where to sit. And then, you know, she was my sister, so she was like, she met him, and he's like, you know, I had this football party. You want to come over or whatever? So he put him in.
She's having a phone conversation.
Yeah, I think she's not talking to us. She muted now.
Yeah, you got caught, Eldrina.
I was ready for the story to continue. I'm like, so what happened there?
Y'all was so
nosy. He was repeating the Vita story. See,
Exactly.
Y'all ladies, so y'all could be showing just like Michael. So y'all could be showing off. Man. I'm trying to hook y'all up. All right, exactly. Natalie's next, and then Tawana, and then Rashonda. So come on, Natalie.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go then. But I don't want to say like annoyed, but I am frustrated with this whole who paying conversation. Like I'm real frustrated.
Natalie.
Why are you frustrated, Natalie?
Natalie don't want to pay. She like, I do not want to pay.
No, it's not about that. To me, that kills the vibe. Oh, why am I echoing?
Somebody's echoing.
Did you say kill the vibe?
Yes, I feel like having those conversation really kills the vibe for me because it's just like it puts me in a mindset that maybe you don't have it financially together and maybe I'm being a burden by, you know, you taking me out or something like that. And for me, that just, I don't know, it just gives me just red flag signals. Like I don't know how else to describe it. So I don't wanna ever like date somebody and feel like I'm being inconvenienced. So like if we have to date and it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like a tally, a tit for tat. Like if you take me out, and I need to know if you're gonna pay for the third, second date. Or if not, you're not the right one. And for me, it's like if we come back to what you know is being told to us about God and God protecting us and giving us more and giving us back with whatever we lost, if that's not at the forefront of us dating, then why go off like that? Because I feel like if somebody was to ask me, well, you know, how we gonna arrange this? I don't mind paying for the first 3 days, but are you gonna pay for the fourth? I'm gonna feel like, okay, you are bringing baggage into the relationship already. Like whatever you went through with that old chick, leave it with that old chick. I'm not the one to be like, because for me, I don't count how many good things I do for you. I'm not going to sit here and then feel like, you know, I have to live up to a certain measure or standard or make sure I don't hurt you the way the ex person hurt you. I don't got time for that. Like this whole tally situation, no, we're not going to do that in this relationship. So for me, that's already a red flag. It's a turn off. I feel like it is very contractual, like what you're trying to do, and I'm not with it. So that's what I had to say about it.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things real quick, Natalie, on that, and I think people have kind of already said it, is it's going to be different strokes for different folks. You know, what's a red flag for you is, you know, something that another woman won't care about. I think it's really just about what's in your own energy, what you like, because that's why I was saying you can have a guy, let's say, for instance, and he's saying, hey, I do not want to pay for the third date. And you might say, okay, cool, whatever, I don't want to date you because of that. But you still should be able to recognize whether that's a good guy or a bad guy. It is your choice whether or not you want to date him. Because it's like for me, and I've kind of said this, I'm not looking for a woman to pay in the first couple of months or maybe first couple of weeks or anything like that. You know, in fact, I mean, some of you guys, I mean, people have heard me even say, like, if a woman will not let me open the door for her, to me, that's a red flag. Now, some women might be thinking, wow, that's such a small thing. But there are women that are like, no, I don't want a man to open the door for me. I want to take care of it myself. So my thing is, that doesn't mean that woman's a bad woman. That's just not the woman for me. And I think we need to understand that it's different strokes for different folks. So for some of the guys, they don't want that. They don't want that. They want the woman to be coming, you know, more in a more contemporary sense and saying, hey, you know, they're coming into it like that. With me, I'm more traditional. So I like a woman that's coming in more traditional. But traditional values are different. See, when a woman comes in with traditional values, I am more concerned about a woman who cooks and does things like that are more traditional. So it's about what you want. So there's nothing wrong with it. I can still see if a woman is good or bad without her being perfect for me. And I think that's the key. As long as you can understand this guy is a good guy, but I like a guy that's going to, you know, buy a few more meals for me or whatever, then that's your dude. It's your type of hype. You got to allow other people to have their own differencing opinions in the way that they want the world to work, because that's why God made us different. So I just want to make sure I say that to get all of that out. So come on, Tawana.
Yeah, there was a lot today. I'm like Davita. There was a lot to unpack today. A lot of comments that were made that I'm gonna try to remember everything. For me, I want to say this. I do think that when people, like I'm over 40. So in terms of the whole, we're gonna go to the park thing, I wanted to be specific to the guys and to just make it clear. I think it depends on how long you've been dating a person. If I just met you, I'm probably not going to meet you at the park because I don't know you. So I need to get to know you before I do that. I think it's a lost art form where people are courted, where men take women out on a date. Now they want to take you out for coffee. I'm not a big coffee drinker. Or I do believe that, like somebody said in the chat, it's all about risk taking when you're dating a person. Are you just trying to date a whole bunch of different women? And so now financially, you feel like there's some financial strain because of that. That's not my responsibility, because I felt like if you're asking me to go out, we should be able to go out on a day, have a conversation, go out for a nice dinner date. I'm going to take the time to look nice. I felt like, why do you want to take me to, let's say, the park? And I probably wouldn't be expecting that on a first or second date. Now, fast forward. If we've been dating for a while, or if we're in a relationship, then a park date is fine. Because at that point, I know you, you know me. We're getting to know each other, and I feel comfortable being in the park with you. So, like walking on a trail or whatever, I will feel comfortable walking with this man on a trail because I've had an opportunity to get to know you as a person. But I think initially, the whole dating and courting process has been lost, because now, I think guys have their guards up, some men, not all, that they believe that, okay, this woman just wants me to take her out and wine her and dine her. And so I think for the men, I think it's important to really to determine whether or not your belief system is based on some past hurts, thinking that, oh, well, all these women are going to use me for a date. Well, most of us women are doing well. We could pay for our own date. We could pay for a meal. That's not that difficult to do. It's not that we don't have the money to do that. We're wanting to go on these dates with you. So it's not about necessarily the money. It's about us spending time together. But I just think that that's something that the man should take the initiative to do, is to be able to say, hey, I want to show you that I want to spend time with you. I want to pay for this date. Now, as a woman, I also think that it can be misconstrued that women are takers if they're not offering to pay for the date on the second day. I will probably not offer on the second day. I may wait to the third or fourth date and then say, oh, let me treat you this time. I do believe that it is important as a woman to show your gratitude and to not just be a taker, and every single day you expect this man to keep paying for months and months and months. At some point, you need to say, hey, look, I'm going to pay for the date, or let me cook you dinner or something to give back. But I just think that it seems like now the whole dating culture now is, okay, a woman is probably not a giver if she's not willing to go to the park with you. I don't mind a museum date. Let me say that to be clear. But for me to just go walking on the trail with somebody I just met and had a couple conversations with, that's not going to be something that I'm probably going to be agreeable to for safety reasons. So I don't think that we should be lumped into a category and say that you are not a giver. I do think that it goes back to communication. And I think that men should also consider the fact that, you know, you're not necessarily a taker just because you're the type of woman who says, hey, I'm not willing to go to the park with you on the first date. That to me is not a date. I'm over 40. We grown. Bring something to the table. I'm gonna bring something to the table. Let's work it out together. And let's be kind to one another and respectful of one another. And that's all I gotta say.
No, I think that was
I just want to say something right quick. So I used to be worried about the dinner dates because, well, I shouldn't say I was worried, but I was very mindful of, I would drive myself because they don't need to know where I live. But I was watching, like when I left, like, do they have somebody waiting for me outside to throw me in a van? So I actually is more comfortable at the, not on no trail because that's not as public, but when you're at a park, you can see all around you.
You go to Piedmont, there's plenty of people.
You can see all around you, but I'm an intellectual person. I like intellectual people, so I like the creative dates because that shows me, you know, what's up there. But what I did want to say is that the truly traditional courting was not going out to dinner. That was like you went to their house and sat on the porch where the dad and the brothers could watch what was going on and that type of stuff. The reason why that dinner date stuff and the cost and all that stuff is coming up is because of the volume of the dates have gone up so significantly that it is cost prohibitive, because it's not the one date, it's the fact that you're going on, you know, everybody's going to all of these dates, and if you paying like every day you paying for a dinner, or 5 out of 7 days you paying for a dinner, that adds up. And honestly, I want to make sure that you care about your money, because if it becomes our money, I don't want you being careless with our money. So are you mindful of your money, where you're being responsible and you're being consistent? Because what I was taught was the people that got money don't spend money. So that's my thing is, you know, you seem real reckless with your spending. I don't know if I want to get into that, because I don't want to be sitting here trying to figure out like, oh, we had a good time, but now we're going to pay this mortgage.
Yeah, but there's other kind of, you know, food you can do too. I mean, people can still go to, you know, Chipotle. They can go grab Pizza Hut, you know. I mean, I think that people get caught up in that. I don't necessarily think you need to go through McDonald's on the first date. But, you know, maybe the fourth day, y'all hanging out, y'all can go grab Burger King.
Pizza Hut and McDonald's ain't the same thing. Because that's the same thing.
Take a poll right now. Jay, take a poll right now. Ladies, how many of y'all would want to go to McDonald's on your first date?
I'm not saying McDonald's, but there are
McDonald's
other
on my own.
Hey, I'm ready to go. I'm trying to.
I mean,
And that's imagination.
For the man's money. How many of y'all want to go to Pizza Hut on the first date?
No,
I mean,
that's no imagination. No
I
creativity.
think if you're asking about the dollar amount, it's different than McDonald's. Like I don't eat McDonald's. That's not something I would buy for myself. So
Chick-fil-A. So go to Chick-fil-A. We Christian.
Like a Starbucks date and a walk somewhere, I think, especially at this time in this environment, I don't want to think about if you're giving me COVID either. So I'm more than happy to meet you for coffee and take a walk.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I mean, y'all got Chick-fil-A, but let's go to Rich. But if you want to know more about that, Michael, type it in the chat. And it might be some people that respond to you in the chat. They'll let you know. But I would say like the third or fourth date. So y'all just hang out. It's on the third or fourth date, but then the guy runs through Chick-fil-A. You know, to me, that seems reasonable. But, you know, maybe it's not to some people. Come on, Rashonda. Can you talk? Can you unmute?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Fantastic conversation. A lot of laughter. Really appreciate it. I know for myself, I've definitely have had a first date at the park riding bikes, and it was quite interesting. Was that a typical first date for me? No, but it was neat because it was something outside the box. And also too, because the guy suggested it, I didn't want them to feel like, well, we can only do what I suggest. You know, it's kind of a balancing act. You still want to be considerate of the other person because it's two people trying to get to know one another. But I may have missed it in the chat, but for Michael, so what ended up happening with this date? Did she box up the food and take it with her? Did you guys just leave it on the table? Like, what was, other than her not calling you? Like, what happened?
So what happened was I told the bartender to box the food up. They boxed the food up. And then she was like, well, you're not gonna give him fresh food? I was like, well, you didn't finish your food, so instead of throwing it away, let's give it to the homeless guy outside. So like, I could buy him some wings. I don't know, why would you not give him fresh food? And I was like, well, we didn't want to throw this food away. This is good food. You barely ate. We could give it away to somebody who will be more appreciative of the food. And she was like, okay, whatever. So she went, ordered the food. I was at this signing the bill. They came back with the lemon pepper wings. So they gave it her. And then the guy that we saw outside, I gave him the bag and she gave him the plate. And she's like, this was really nice. And I really appreciate everything. And thank you.
Well,
I think it also depends on the food.
Yeah, I think it was a disagreement over the food that killed the date. I don't know.
Well, she had steak. Well, she had let's see, steak and shrimp. She had carne asada with shrimp on top, and I was like, well, I suggested the place. You agreed to it. We had a good time because she didn't turn back the Patron margaritas. I didn't know we were here for the Patron margaritas, but the food part, it was just that my thing is that I was doing a good deed. I understand that man's situation outside. So the one thing I'm just thinking of, instead of him digging in the garbage can, let's give him something that we have. She looked at it as like, I'm just giving the scraps away. Like it's beneath me. But no, I was just thinking like, why waste this?
No, I see your point. I think the difference between you two, like she's saying, let's go to Macy's and buy this guy a shirt. And you're saying, I got a shirt that I ain't wearing no more. So I'm gonna give it to him. So I just think it's just a difference of opinion. But I think y'all's date kind of died because y'all kind of did have that little bit of an argument. And so that was just kind of a buzzkill. You know?
I don't know if that's the exact analogy I would use because if I remember right, Michael, when the homeless guy asked for food, you were offering the food that was hers, not yours. Am I correct?
We didn't ask. I just suggested because I've been homeless before. So okay. I just thought that was just, hey, you see somebody out there, hey, do something. They say something.
Yeah. Maybe the issue did she understand that? I'm sorry, guys.
No, but that's a good question. And I never told her that I was homeless. I just thought.
Okay.
I take full accountability for that. But my thing is that if I'm just doing a good deed, I shouldn't have to tell you where I had to come from to do that good deed. It should have been like, hey, let's just do this. And then I can lean in because I can give you the whole story instead of it's the end of the date and I'm trying to rush to tell you a story because you may have follow-up questions.
I think it was more like the issue I'm seeing is more her response to what you were doing, because there would have been another way to handle that would have been to ask you like, I wouldn't have thought of that. And that's very thoughtful, but like, I don't know, would homeless people want leftovers? I don't know. And then that gives you an opening to say, I've been there, I've walked that, this is what I would have wanted. And, that's just, I think her response might've been, and I don't know her, but I'm just assuming maybe there's something in her experience that made her respond that way. But I think that's where things started to break down. Because that could have been a opportunity for you guys to know her better.
She wasn't even thinking about that dude. She wasn't gonna give him nothing.
I'm just gonna make a comment really.
That's why dating in Atlanta is, oh, good Lord. I'm praying.
Don't judge all of us. I hate when you guys do that. You'll be like, oh,
exactly.
I'm just saying.
Michael, you came here single now, so
I did come. You're right. I did come. I came single because the woman I dated didn't want to make that move. So I figured let's start all over.
Everybody like that.
You'll find somebody.
Bye,
Let's go on to
Michelle.
Angel. Angel's been waiting. Let's be respectful. Come on, Angel.
I'm just saying. Hi guys, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
been a
God.
long time.
I'm
Look
on
at
the
that
ground right
smile.
now.
I ain't seen that smile in a
I'm on the
long
ground.
time.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my life all completely in order. So, and I'm beginning to get to that stable point right now and to arrange my schedule to where I'm not working on the weekends, which I've been able to do. But I think that this has been a great discussion for my first day back. Oh my goodness, it's been a year. Oh my God. Yeah, I've been trying to commute for a year and it has not worked. So I had to come back to Dallas. But Michael, it's in Dallas. It's not just Atlanta, it's all over. So we just have to, so my thing right now with the whole dating scene and like having the conversations and checking myself and going back to what scripture is saying, because Ruth was actually one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I had focused on in Genesis at the beginning, and just trying to understand what it is that I need for myself. And when I understand that, I can't expect a man to say, well, you do this, this, and this. But I just want to make sure that I'm in that place to where, as you said, that I am able to benefit the other. And that's been my whole focus. I really enjoyed you guys. It has been great. And it's just, yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of full because I've been felt so unstable. So, but I just wanted to say to all of you guys, I really appreciate you, really appreciate your conversations, and that it helped me to even process even the more. So once again, thank you guys, and it has been great. Thank you.
No, we definitely thank you. I love seeing you again. And you know, we got people out there. We have more people now out in Texas. So if you
I
ever want to meet
see
people, yeah. So Kimmy on her iPad, because we're looking at Kimmy's
yeah,
iPad.
I'm from Texas too. I'm in Houston. So, hello, hi. I mean, I really have nothing to say. I mean, you guys gave a lot of good points about, like I think Mustafa really gave a really good point when he said, don't make it about food, maybe that would help when it comes to dating. Like make it like something else besides food. Maybe have a picnic, a potluck at a park. So at least you guys get to know each other without worrying about money being an issue at first, and just get to know each other in other aspects and other ways. And money should not measure, your interests. It's always good to offer something, maybe take some cash with you and just put $20 on the table. That would help, at least as an effort. You don't have to say anything, just put something on the table. If you're eating dinner, if you actually have dinner, just put something. And if for the woman, for me, I would, if he says, oh, that's not enough, then then y'all could talk about it. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
No, we appreciate you talking though, and being here and hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Like I say, all y'all Texas people, I'm telling y'all get together. We do some events out in Texas, and then we'll come out. The Atlanta crew might make that drive one day or fly. I don't know, depending on what Sean Williams want to do.
We're gonna fly out to Dallas first, and then we'll probably hit Houston. But I think Dallas is gonna be before the end of the year, probably around September. Where did Rosemary go? She's giving me my tickets. Where'd she go?
No, she didn't disappear. She knew you was about to ask for them tickets. So she left. But go ahead, Sean. It's on you, man.
Oh, I'm kind of with Shannara on this one. Like, you got to go with the flow. It's Tawana was talking about she doesn't like the park. I can kill all of that by just asking, what do you want to do? Would you like to do this? And as long as I'm letting you decide what you want to do, I don't have to think about it. So for the guys, it takes a whole lot of pressure off you if you just ask them what they want to do. But what I will do is that if she wants to go to a certain restaurant or do some certain things, I will arrange everything and then let her know step by step before the date, this is how it's going to go down. And it's going to be my treat so they know they don't have to pay. But during that time, like I tell you about, I went out on a date. We only met for coffee. That was the date. We were just going to meet in Starbucks for coffee. We sat in Starbucks almost 2.5 hours, $30 later. So then I said to her, "Are you hungry?" Then we went to a restaurant, you know. Then after that, I was like, "Well, you want to grab a movie?" We was just going with the flow. We was having so much fun getting to know each other that it just went so smooth. Like the whole day was just the bomb because we just went with the flow. We was just enjoying getting to know each other. We had no expectations. I told her the night before, look, I'm not going to try to take you home. I'm not going to try to sleep with you, at least not today. But for now, I just want you to just enjoy yourself and have a good time.
Transparency. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was it. And we had a great time. Now, mind you, we didn't go on the second date because even though we had a great time, she wasn't the one. She just wasn't the one. And it wasn't nothing about her. It was just, I saw her. We would make good friends, not soulmates, as y'all say. But we had a blast, and I enjoyed getting to know her. And we remained friends. It's okay to come out of it with just a friend. Did it cost me $100 and something? Yeah, and it was worth every penny because I had a ball. I enjoy giving. I really do. And just to be able to serve her in a way, because I know she hasn't been on a date in a while. The date she's been on probably was with some job time turkeys that you talk about in this group all the time. I didn't want to be one of those, but I just wanted her to just have a good time. And that was it. That was the expectation. Have some fun. Um, and most of my dates go that way. The thing that I've been coming across is that on these dates, like they're always bringing up marriage, and I'm like, that's not first date conversation. I'm just, I just want to hang out and have some fun. No, I'm not a player, but I'm trying to find out if we can be friends.
Well, Sean, sometimes if a woman brings up marriage, that doesn't necessarily mean she want to be married to you. She's just saying what her standard and what she would like for herself.
Right. Exactly. She's telling me her standard and what she wants for herself, which is fine. But now's not the time. First date, it's not the time for that. The first, maybe second, third, fourth. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
But that's why I think, like I say, everybody needs to have these conversations, and that's one thing I have to agree with Toyland. It's like you got to have a conversation.
And there are men who bring up marriage in the first date as well. It's not about I want to marry you. It's just a casual conversation talking about what you see yourself being a part of. It's not any pressure. If you feel pressure, if you talk about it, that's internal. But it's not saying she's not like across the street,
I mean,
they were letting me know that they were letting me know that if we're going to continue to date, that they're dating with a purpose, which is fine. We established that way on the telephone conversations ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, then I understand that then.
But okay,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like with the preacher in the back seat of their car.
No, With one of them, we stayed friends and we continued to date. And then after 2 weeks, she wanted me to make a commitment. And I'm like, I know you for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Can't do that. That
I
became an
agree.
issue in our relationship, and we don't talk anymore because even after a month, because I let it go, thinking maybe there's something up with me and I need to be open to all of this new stuff I've been learning here in CSC. But in the end, I'm not going to make a decision like that after knowing you for a month. And I understand that, I'm getting older and time is of the essence. But like Shanara said, if we can't flow, then what's the point?
Gotcha.
We got to be able to flow. And what I mean by flow is that you're agreeable with each other, you're having fun together. The communication is there naturally. Hey, do you like doing this? Well, maybe we should try this one day. I've never done this before. Maybe we should do that. The communication is there naturally. That's that flow Shanara was talking about. When you start putting your expectations and your pressure and you come out with your list of the guy that you want, it breaks the flow and creates tension. It stops the flow dead in its tracks and makes you think about stuff that, should be just regular. Like we can't, let's just be regular. I know women that like to be fine dining. I know ones that like to run in the park. I went on a nice date in New York. Where Mike at? Mike, I'm from Brooklyn. I just moved down here as well. I packed a picnic basket. I cooked the chicken. I make a incredible macaroni salad. I packed a picnic basket. We went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Metropolitan Museum of the Art is a suggested admission. I paid $1. It cost me about $20 to pack the picnic basket. I took a deck of cards. I took my little Bluetooth speaker. I went into the museum, checked the picnic basket. After the museum, we went into Central Park and we had a blast. Then after that, we went to like a little place to get dessert. It was a blast. I think the whole
I see
thing
what you
cost me
mean.
$50.
I see what you mean, Sean, especially if you've already had the conversation by phone. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the date. You shouldn't. But so I
Gotta have the
understand your
conversation by
perspective.
phone.
Yeah.
Guys, have the conversation by phone. Let them know exactly how the date's going to go because you need for them to feel safe. They're not going to let I won't say guard, they're not going to open up until they feel safe. So the first thing you got to do is let them feel safe by just communicating to them exactly what's going to happen. That's it. That's all I got.
Hey, I mean, I told y'all, Sean got some player moves, man. Y'all better listen to the man. Michael, I also hit you up. I sent you that IG, man, because I'm always looking for people to help out. We always need a good volunteer. So I'll be counting on your support and your donation to CSC, along with your tithe and your offering. Yeah, anyway.
I heard last night the biggest nation is a donation.
There you go. Come on, Tata.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, guys. I'm new to this. Love the conversation. I had a question for the gentleman that was talking about the young lady that was bringing her to go or the homeless man. I wanted to know how the date was going prior to that because you guys were ending the date. Was the date going okay prior to that? And then that was your first red flag that something wasn't right?
Yes, they was going amazingly well. Had a good time, the back and forth. First woman I did that have kids, and that's not something I normally do. So I was just trying to give opportunity to, with a single mother and just see this is something because the way I've been doing things hasn't been working. So I wanted to just break out of my own way, out of my head, and say, let me just try something different and see what happens. And the flow was great. We're about the same age because I'm 40, so we're about the same age. And let me just try something. She was open to having kids. She was open to like being married. She was open to like reload. It was the whole, everything was just fit. It was just fitting everything that I was doing into the food part. And that's the part that I didn't see that coming because I wasn't expecting it. I thought it would just be a good deed that we could say we did this together on our first date.
Okay, I'm younger, but I'm just gonna say that for me, I think that I've been guilty of this in the past. Is like I was sometimes analyzing the date and like looking for things. And I think that like at that moment, maybe she was analyzing, like looking for something. And then once that went off, it sort of triggered her to a past that I think someone else had brought up, people having passed and not being fully healed. And that might have triggered her in some way. I've been on a date before, and there used to be like a strip area. I used to work for Georgia Pacific. So there's like this strip area where a lot of college students and people will go to eat lunch, the attorneys, everything in that area. And there was a homeless person that was like walking past and asking for people's food. And the attorney that I was on a date with, he was like, yeah, don't give them your food. And I was just sort of like, why? And he was like, because like once you give them your food or something like that, and they get sick or whatever, like they can sue you. But at that moment, I just got up and went and got some food and went out there. So for me, I think that it wasn't about like you. And I think it was more about her wanting to look for something and then also wanting to be triggered by something. That was the first comment that I wanted to make. But the second comment that I wanted to ask is a real question because I have lived in Atlanta for some time right now. And I think that, like I was saying in the chat, I think that there's this huge stigma that, a lot of women are just looking for money and chasers and things like that. But I have a lot of girlfriends that I work with and a lot of girlfriends that I know that are professional women that, if a man suggested a coffee date or a park date or anything like that, they're automatically turned off and are not interested because of that whole like high value man situation where a high value man, of course, is not going to ask you on that kind of date, which isn't true. Can I have some comments from the men about what they think about that?
Well, I won't go first. I'll let Stan go first. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys hear me okay?
You freezing, but go ahead and keep talking. We'll let you know if you.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Ty, you know what? I think that, as a Black man, we have so many stigmas we have to combat. And, I have a good career. I've been blessed, and I want to go above and beyond to that special woman. But it's getting that woman to just, forget about all the Atlanta Hollywood stuff. Quit watching TV. Quit listening to social media. Get to know the brother first because you don't know who you got. And that could be the one, but you're judging him based on what you're seeing on TV and social media. I'm going to talk to you a couple of times on the phone. We're going to do Starbucks because I want to see where your head is at. And after I see that you're good and you're not crazy, now let's have some fun. And now I can show you what I'm bringing to the table.
Well, I'm gonna say this to go off for Stan, and I'm just gonna be real about it. And Tashawn actually said this first, so I'm gonna give her credit. There are a lot of guys straight up that have money, might be millionaires or quiet millionaires. And I'm gonna be real with you. They might have a Range Rover in the car, and they might have two cars. They have a Range Rover in their garage, and they might have a little Honda Civic in their garage. And a lot of guys will date you first in their Honda Civic. And they're going to drive around in their Honda Civic for the first 5 or 6 dates to see how you act. And then if they feel like you like them for them, then they'll show you the Range Rover because old money and people who are smart with their money, they don't toss it out like that. And that's one of the mistakes that I think a lot of women make in Atlanta, not all of them, but a lot of them make is because they think the baller is this dude that throws out money. But I'm telling you, a lot of times the people with real money, they built that money themselves. They built a business. They don't throw that money away because that money's precious to them. So for them, they move that money out very slowly. And a woman is going to have to show that she is just there for love. And then she's going to wake up and it's going to be like Coming to America, the first movie, where she finds out, wow, this dude is a prince. And he got his own money,
Let me just say this. Let me just say this real quick. No, that's not the stigma of the women that are in Georgia. For most of the men that I know down here, And even though I just moved down here, I've been coming to Georgia for years on a regular basis. And that's not the stigma. There's a different stigma, but that's not the stigma. I know a lot of guys that move down here because the women are sweethearts and they just want regular women. They're tired of the housewives of Atlanta and they just wanted regular women. So they moved here just for that purpose.
Yeah, it's probably because, like I said, you're from New York, so you're getting a different vibe than, because like being from the South, I run into a lot of New Yorkers, but you, Sean, being from New York, you probably run into so many Georgia peaches that it's kind of like night and day. What did you have to say, Stephanie?
No, I think you kind of hit my point, but also I think it's not just germane to Georgia. It's every area has different types of people and different cultures and different ways of being. There are a lot of women who are here and like, for me, I'd rather you take me on a date to Starbucks and you spend time with me and you're not on your phone than you take me to Del Frisco or the Palm and you're answering emails the whole time. Like I could have taken myself. I'm interested in your quality time. And I think, a lot of people don't really value or see that as being just as valuable. It's not the dollar amount. A lot of times when people want you to take them out, they want you to spend time and energy and put thought into the whole process of dating.
Okay, cool. Is that you, Daisy? You got your hand up. ADJ, is that you, Daisy? Daisy? You don't know.
Yeah, sorry, that's me. I was talking with my mic off. Yeah, that's me. Hold on. Let me get some light here. Okay. Yeah, so I've been listening to this conversation and it got so long, I decided to just get ready. Anyway, so yeah, it's, some of the things the guys have said, it just sounds to me like, for someone like me, once from you guys, all of you guys that have spoken, I can tell the training you've got from the women you've met. You give it away by the clues, some of the things you say. So they're like clues for someone like me to tell where you've been and how you've been treated in the past. So for the guy in the cap, the t-shirt that took someone and they squabbled over food and all that, don't squabble over food, don't squabble over money. From what I've heard you said, it seems to me like if you had been, if you had talked more about your background, she may have understood. I know made a big deal of it. So like you guys like to say, you don't read minds, we don't read minds, something like that just needs more questions. It's not for you to get turned off. And I'm speaking to the women as well. But for, I've been with guys who have had money and they're not the most generous, really. So squabbling over food and money is like a no-no in my culture. Do not, on no account, squabble over food or money. So if you invite me out, to be honest with you, you're not going to be impressed with me very much. If you invite me to eat and you're looking to get validation from me, you won't get it because eating out is not my thing. I cook in the house. Okay. Now, if I invite you to my house, you see a whole different person. But I'm happy to have you pay for everything, first, second, whatever. I'll just sit back and watch you do it. Why? Because I like to see how generous you are. Once you squabble over that, no, even if you can, just don't. Okay, so but it's a great conversation and it's good to to learn where people are coming from. And it's really just about grace. And I heard that from you for the first time, Joseph, when you said, just extend more grace to people. And you're right, that's exactly what it is. The whole thing about coffee date, park, eating, squabbling, food, beggars. No, just ask questions, okay? Give more grace, because you might be surprised what you find out when you take time to dig in, to understand where people are coming from. So, and like you, I like, to pick up after people, let people pick up after themselves. If you're a guest in my house,
To me, that's just like home training 101. If you're guests in somebody's house, please leave their home the way you saw it, even better. So that's all I have to say.
No, that was good. That was good. Come on, April.
Okay, I wanted to talk about where I think it was you who said men move here because women are sweethearts, and I think that that's true. I'm not from here. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I moved here in 1998. And the women being the sweetheart thing, for me, I think some of them have men spoiled, because when I meet a man, the first thing he wants to know is when you gonna invite me over? When you gonna cook for me? And then it never happens, because let that be my idea. It's an invitation, not a request.
No, I'm with you. I mean, but that was actually Sean that said that. You know, so I'm gonna make sure I give him credit. But I think, like I said, a lot of it is just about perspective. Because again, it's about perspective and honestly what you run into. You know, there are guys, somebody was saying it in the chat, there are guys here that are all hooked up in the mindset of the Hollywood mindset. Same thing with women. There's a lot of women here that they want to be IG models and they want to act like they got this going and that going and all this other kind of stuff. There's bad people everywhere. But I think when you move into a new city, because you're not running in the same areas that you used to in your older city, it gives you the opportunity to run into brand new people that you might have not ever run into in your old city. And I believe through that people meet different types of people that a lot of times they didn't know existed.
I'll grant you that. I'm just saying that the expectation is very high. For me, it's a turn off when, I first meet you and I tell you what I do and where I live, and you want to know when I'm going to invite you over. Let that be my decision. I really have an aversion to that. I don't like that at all. And I'm a person who can meet you at Starbucks. I don't need you to do anything for me, and it's not an expectation, but I don't know. I think like the person said just before me, we have to extend each other grace, and I definitely try to do that until you invite yourself to my space. I just can't go for that.
The main thing is you also just got to find out where people are coming from. I know for some of the women who are successful, we did do a thing about 2.5 months ago, and some people liked that particular message and some people didn't, and it was just talking about the strong woman and the traps that a lot of the quote unquote strong women can find themselves in, and that is that whole thing where they're many times attracted to and run into guys that are, for lack of a better term, and this is for lack of a better term, please don't get caught up in the terminology, because sometimes we do that on CSC, but they get caught up in freeloaders. Guys that just want to come over, they want to hang out, they want to eat your food, they want to have sex with you, and then they want to go home. Okay, they want you to do everything. They are the epitome of the super taker. And a lot of women get caught up in them. They do. Because a lot of these guys, just like I was saying with lions chase lions, they know what a lion looks like. And they know what the lions want. And so they basically do what they need to do in order to get those women's attention. And so you have to remember, when you're out here dating, these other people, for the women, it's the men, whatever, but that other person, that opposite sex, they know what they're looking for. And that does not mean they are a match for you. And that's why, the women in this group have heard me say over and over and over again that I would like for them to at least think about being proactive when it comes to meeting men. It doesn't mean that you got to go up to them. It doesn't mean that you have to ask them for their number or anything like that. But you need to be proactive when you give your looks. Make sure you give the doggone looks. Make sure that you got his attention if that's the guy that you're thinking about. And when a guy seems very smooth, I'm not saying that this is not a good guy, but you do need to at least toss up some kind of flag in your head. That's the only thing that I've given advice about since the very beginning. Is just one of those things, because like I said, I've only dated probably less than 10 women in my life that I have literally had to walk up to, ask her out from the very beginning, like go through that whole, what they call cold approach process. And that was because I was married for a long period of time. So a guy that has had to do that 50 times is going to be more, a little bit smoother than me. Okay. And I've had situations where I've tried to talk to a woman and found myself fumbling over my words.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are women that as soon as that happens, they're like, no, I'm not talking to you. You're a loser. Yeah. Okay. But see, that's that mindset that you're saying, because the guy is a little fumbly, that right now you're thinking, oh, well, I don't want to talk to him. And what I'm saying is be nice to him, have a conversation, then figure out if you don't want to talk to him. And that's why I say get out of these boxes.
That's not my experience, though. I think we may be speaking on two different issues.
Well, no, I'm just saying in general. I'm just talking about in general, because, I'm generally not just talking to you, but to, a lot of the women on the call. So that's just kind of what I'm saying, is that there's just a lot of different types of guys out here. And I do believe that there are really great guys out here for you, April, that are not going to come over and, just want that from you, but they're going to want to really get to know you, really be able to talk to you, and, go through the whole thing. You just got to make sure that, yeah, I'm talking too much now. Come on, Tawana. Save me.
Okay, well, I think there's so much pressure put on women all the time to prove that we're worthy of a date. I just think that even like what you just said a few minutes ago, the dating and the courting has been lost over the years. I think that you should have a thought out plan on where you, like as Sean was mentioning, ask the woman where she wants to go. That might be a nice compromise. Or as an alternative, if you feel like her intentions might not be right, why don't you get to know the lady? I prefer myself to have just conversations. We could talk on the phone 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever, before we go out on a date, because it feels like, if you say, okay, well, I'm gonna have you go on an ice cream date, or I'm only gonna take you on to the park, or I'm only gonna take you to something that's like, I guess what you could say, just more economically feasible, because I don't know what your true intentions are as a woman. That means that you already have judged me, or you judged women to the point where you're thinking, and you have this in the back of your mind, that this woman is only going to date you because she wants this meal. As I stated before, most of us, we all eating. It's not hard for a woman to go purchase her own meal. So why don't you get a chance to know the woman? That's what my suggestion would be. Get to know the woman 2-3 weeks, a month, however long it takes for you to get comfortable, so that you all can go out on a date. Then we can have those conversations and you could get to know the woman and know what her intentions are, and know that she doesn't necessarily need you to go and pay for this meal, and that she's not using you for a meal, that she really, really wants to spend time with you. I would prefer that than for a man to ask me out on a date and take me for coffee. I'm over here in a nice dress or whatever, taking the time out to look nice for this date, and we getting ready to go sit up at the park on a blanket. Now, once again, let me say this, I'm gonna clarify. If I've been dating this person for a while, then I'm not having a problem with a park date, because we've already built up rapport with one another. I know that he values me, he values my time, I value him, and I value his time. So I don't have a problem going to the park. But if I just met you, I'm not walking on the trail with you. I don't know you. You might have killed me. I end up on the news. I live in Illinois, suburbs of Chicago. You end up missing. So I'm not going to meet you at the park. I'm sorry. But if you want to let's get to know each other. When we feel comfortable, let's go on a date. And that way you feel comfortable and I feel comfortable. So that's a compromise, because I'm just being 100. I think after a certain age, the man should be courting you. At this point, we're not about to be dating for, and it's not going anywhere. So Those are just my thoughts. I was screaming inside because I felt like this whole new culture of the woman has to prove. Like there are men that are asking, can you cook? What's the best? What's your best cook? What's your best day? I don't even know you. I don't know if I'm going to be cooking for you. And I work a full-time job. This, if I'm cooking and going to work, like, are you going to be paying all the bills and I'm going to be at home? Then, I mean, because what they're really doing is, I think some men feel like, well, they are judging you. Are you cooking every day? No, I don't. I don't cook every day because I work every day. So I have a job, full-time job like you. I'm expecting that we're both going to be working full-time so that we can build a better foundation together. So therefore, I'm not going to say I'm never going to, cook, but I do think that sometimes there are men that, like you said, JL, they will ask you that question. Well, what you cook, what's your best meal? Do you like to cook for your man? Like, I just feel like there's so much pressure on women to do everything. And even just like approaching men, like I don't like to approach men. I like for a man to approach me and say, hey, how you doing? What's your name? I am not going to turn him away. I'm thankful that he actually approached, because I feel like now we got to give a clue. I got to give a smile. We talked about this before, JL, like with this whole thing of having to, it feels like we just have to bear the weight of everything. And it's not fair for us to have to do that to prove that we're worthy of a date. I'm sorry, that's it. I'm done.
You're seeing it as, I don't mean it from a perspective of proving or that, you have to do all of this. I think sometimes it is a perspective thing. Because if you talk to most men, they would say the same thing. They would say, why do men have to do all of this and women don't have to do much of anything? It's a perspective. What it really boils down to, and this came out in another conversation, was that the thing that we generally fight about the most is really the thing we just don't want to do. And it's a personal thing. It's a personal thing within us all. So for men that are like, well, I don't want to spend the money, that's a personal thing for them. For women that are saying, I don't want to make eye contact with a guy, I want him to come up to me, that's a personal thing for them. But at the end of the day, what CSC is about empowering all of us so that we can get as far as we can. You see what I'm saying? That is what it's about. It's about empowering. So for me, like I said earlier, I recognize, and I'll be real with you, me and Sean Williams have talked about this a lot, because Sean Williams is an organizer, and me and him spend a lot of time together. In fact, like last weekend, we took a 2-hour drive just because I wanted to check out a location that we might do some work at. So, he knows a lot about me. He knows a lot about my dating life. And, I told him straight up, I'm like I said a few minutes ago, I've only really had to cold approach about 7 to 10 women in my whole life. Okay, half of them came out pretty good. The other half came out horrible, absolutely horrible. But I recognize as a man, it's something I have to continue to work on. I have to continue to get better at if I want to be successful in the dating arena. And sometimes I've talked to Sean and I've said, hey, what are some of your tips? What are some things that you can teach me? And he's literally said, well, what I try to do is find things that I think she might be interested in, or I might just come out and ask her a question, a type of question that might be on a lot of people's minds to get an answer to stop her from doing whatever it is she's doing and focus in on me. And so I was like, wow, that's great advice. So what I'm trying to say, and I'm using myself as an illustration, is to say that I recognize I have this deficiency in my own game, and I'm trying to fix that deficiency. So what I see a lot of times with people in CSC is they get something and then they so focus on that one thing because that is the thing that bothers them. That is the thing that ultimately they do not want to do. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but I am saying is why not think about it? Why not consider it? Because it's very difficult for men to get rejected. And we get rejected all the time. Okay. that is very hard. It is emotional. That's why so many guys cuss you out. Well, you ain't nothing nowhere, blah, 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 because their feelings are hurt. Their feelings are hurt. I'm just being real. Okay, and their feelings. And see, when it happens over and over and over again, especially if he really liked you, okay, now he's going through that. But see,
really
men say, well, why we got to do that? Why we got to do that? Why we got to do that? Then women, y'all be like, well, that's what y'all traditionally do. Which, first of all, again, you put us in a stronghold, you put us in a box. I'm trying to say, come out of those boxes, win by any means necessary. Because none of those things are biblical.
I respect that. I do have a question for you and for the men, if whoever would want to answer. So as you indicated, the men have some reluctance in approaching women because of the fact that sometimes they get shut down by a woman prematurely or before the woman gets to know them. So if that's the case, I mean, for me, as I indicated, I prefer the man to do the approaching. So I know you said healthy compromise, open up your mind, be open to other things. Now we wearing masks everywhere we go, right? So I don't want to look like a creep, okay? I don't want to look like the creep, and I also don't want to look like the aggressor, because there are some men who do say that's a turnoff. They don't want the woman to approach them. So what's a healthy compromise with that? Because now we're wearing masks, nobody can see anybody. You know,
that's why you should come to the CSC groups where we hang out in restaurants.
We're gonna set up some events in Illinois. We have to.
Oh yeah, that's right, in Illinois. Well, you can fly down. Davita's flown down.
Bye, Shanara. Yeah, I'll be down in the spring.
Oh, bye, Shanara.
Bye, Shanara. Loved you. Loved your commentary.
And remember, Shanara lives in Fayetteville, so you can hook up with her in Fayetteville. And I'm gonna show you
Wait a
how
minute.
Michael's
Fayetteville,
doing, y'all.
Shanara, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Georgia, girl.
No. Georgia. Okay.
Is that the same Michael?
I was just saying thank you.
He's showing these ladies that he can do it all.
No, I gotta go, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Michael, you got a date today?
With a little carnation. He is trying to, y'all ladies, boy, y'all better jump on that man. I'm trying to tell
Michael got a date today?
Yeah.
I had a question for Michael too. But you leaving, so.
You got 2 minutes.
Ooh,
I love it. I love it already. Go ahead.
That says. I just wanted to know, like, was there a follow-up like after the date? So y'all both knew, like, you know, why it didn't go right, why you weren't speaking anymore? Because I feel like so often we go out on dates with people and just don't talk. We just don't call each other back. And we're just always left wondering, you know, how the date went. So I was just questioning that.
The follow-up was, I made it home safely. Thank you.
You didn't try to initiate contact with her? You didn't try to text her or ask her?
Right.
For what? It's not going to go anywhere.
Hey, boss, maybe there was a misunderstanding. All I'm saying is it could have been a perception on this side, perception on that side.
I'll put like this, truthfully. We'll see how this day goes, and if it doesn't work, then I text. But I gotta go. Love you guys.
All right, bye, Michael.
Later, man. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, man. He showed all 3 phases of what he can offer a woman. I'm telling y'all. So that's how y'all do it. And
Michael, stick it and moving. Stick it moving.
On. With your video.
Well, I had a question. I had another question for the guys. So we talk often about, you know, the girl being approached and all of this. And I've gotten cursed out quite a few times, like, because I told the person, you know, I'm not interested. So I'm trying to figure out, what do guys want to hear? Do you want to hear, like, I got a man and that's why I can't talk to you? Or do you want the truth that I'm not interested and I don't find you attractive? Because I'm tired of getting cursed out.
This is for the guys?
Well, I guess both. It doesn't matter.
I would rather you tell me the truth and hurt my feelings than for me to continue into a relationship that's not going to work.
Well, I think she was saying whether you tell the guy I'm not interested in you, or you tell the guy I got a boyfriend, or I'm seeing. So
like, let him off easy. Like, because I feel like when you say I got a. But I feel like they don't. But I get cursed out when I tell them the truth.
Wait a minute. I'm not little sis. I need to help you with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you should not be getting cursed out on a regular. because it's all in the way that you convey that message.
There you
And
go.
if
There you
men
go.
are consistently approaching you and they you know, you're not interested in them, you have to check yourself too and make sure what you're putting out non-verbally and verbally is not giving them the go ahead. Because a lot of times, sometimes women are very flirtatious and things like that. And then when the man approaches them, it's like, okay, that wasn't for you. That was for your boy across the way, you know? So that's the thing. You got to make sure, what are you putting out? Number one. And number two, like for a man to get the courage to even approach you, he had to see something, unless he's just crazy and thirsty, you know? So I can't see if it's difficult for some men to approach women. It's like, why would
It's
he even
always
approach
the
you?
ugly people that have too much confidence. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
The question that you're asking this group of men, you're asking people who are stable and balanced and self-aware. You're
Yeah,
not,
they
I don't
can't
think
respond to that.
applies, you know, outside where you could
That
get
makes sense.
I've been in that's a scary situation to be in. So I feel like in the moment you need to do what you can do to protect
Right.
yourself. And sometimes that's
Right.
like wrong number, or oh, my husband's there, or you know, my boyfriend's waiting for me.
Crazy.
Whatever. Because it depends. I think it really depends on what situation you're in and who you're around.
I would just say I'm dating. I mean, that's what I would do. Because like you said, I mean, there are some people who are just not stable. So I mean, it's true.
But
You
there's
are
a
dating. So
polite
you're not,
way you
you're
can
not
say, I'm
lying.
taken, I'm spoken for.
I'm just saying I'm dating. You're not lying. You are dating, not in a relationship. But at the same time, you're just saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm dating someone. I'm dating. And then if you just say I'm dating, that's true. You are dating. You just
Well, I don't lie. I say I'm spoken
How about
for.
no thank you and
Jesus
just
speak
keep it
for me.
Davita.
That's true. We dating Jesus until otherwise. That's right, Davita.
Well, Tata says that she disagrees. Men will approach you with your man, and time we see women politely say no and be attacked. I think it can go, and I agree with you that these things happen, but I don't know if that's happening a lot around you, because maybe you need to get to where a different set of men are. But most of the guys I know, and like Stephanie says, probably more stable men around me and around in this group. You know, even if you said, no, I'm not interested, or no, you ugly, you know, you're not gonna get attacked by me or Sean or whatever. I probably roll my eyes and walk away, but that'll probably be the end of it. So I think, yes, you got to know where you are, but I'm going to just say that if you're running into men like this all the time, then maybe you need to change where you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be happening often.
Hold on, Tata wants to say something. Go ahead.
Needing to change the way, which I'm glad I joined this group and other groups. So I agree with that. Maybe it was the places that I was going to, so I get that. But I used to do Uber a while back, and I can tell you that even politely saying no, I'm very mannerable, very, very mannerable. So I can say I've seen it with my eyes, and I've also seen, and I'm a nerd, so I read a lot, and I can tell you that there was actually a story last summer, matter of fact, up in like Brooklyn somewhere. I think it was Brooklyn, where the woman went into the liquor store. She went to go get some wine, and she was leaving, and the men had asked her like, "Hey, can I pay for your wine? Hey, can I get your number?" or something like that. She politely said no because they saw it on camera. And when she was walking out of the store, they viciously attacked her to the point where they had like a massive, massive gathering because they bit her and attacked her. So I'm not saying this from like only my perspective, like I'm only around bad men, because that's not true. But I'm saying just as overall, in general, for me, sometimes I'll never say no. I'll say sometimes, oh yeah, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Just for my safety purposes, just because like when you're out and about getting gas, I mean, at the grocery store, whatever it may be, for a woman in general, sometimes you just have to just be cautious and be cognizant of where you're at and what you're doing, because it doesn't matter how polite or nice, or you're not flirty, you're not doing anything but minding your own business. And that is a reality that happens to women every day. And I've worked with women's abuse shelters as well and things of that nature. So I'm very, I've been around these situations before.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with that. I think you have to do what you have to do. Yeah, I mean, because certain situations, unfortunately, we live in a world like that. But again, I think that's an everybody thing. I don't think women just go through that. You know, and again, I have nothing against any race or culture or thing like that. But just in Atlanta, what, 2 years ago, a guy that looks like me is running down the street and three guys run up to him and shoot him. Okay, and it was all over the news and everybody knows about it. So, you know, we all have bad things to happen to us. We just have to be as careful as we can possibly be and always just kind of be aware of our surroundings. And like you said, you know, in that moment, you just do whatever you have to do to survive. And or what you think is best. What do you want to say, Sean? I think you was about to say something.
Yeah, I mean, there's evil everywhere, and we need to be careful and we need to protect ourselves. And, you know, growing up in Brooklyn, I've seen a lot of it. And I just get out the situation as fast as I can. So if that means being polite, if it means ignoring, if it whatever it's going to take for me to get away, is what I'm going to do. But I wanted to talk to Tawana because she talked about the cooking thing, and I think April talked about the cooking thing, and everybody know like you cook for me, it's a wrap.
Sean is there.
It's a wrap. But here's the thing, though. I was in a relationship for 3 years, and the woman could not cook. She just couldn't. Literally, I was at her house one day. She was cooking dinner, and she messed up the rice. I had to kick her out of the kitchen and finish cooking the dinner. Now, we was in love with each other and was planning on getting married. But I understood. I went in knowing she can't cook. So I just made a decision. Okay, well, I need to make enough money to hire a maid because I like home cooked meals. But what I'm trying to say to you, Tawana, is that people need to meet you on your terms. It's okay that it's so if Korean women that are when I was growing up, the women, I got three sisters. They were taught to cook. My mother taught them to cook. My mother was a great Southern cook. That's just the way we are raised. But in today's modern time, where you got two income households and both people are working on careers, you may not have time for all that. Where Chick-fil-A and McDonald's may be a good bet because you may be working full time and then going to school. Um, I was a full time student and a full time employee at the same time because I had a son. So I didn't have time to cook. Um, but the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that the guy needs to meet you on your terms. They need to get to know you. And just because you're not cooking, that doesn't mean you cannot have a great relationship.
And
It
it's
really
not that I
doesn't.
don't cook at all. It's just that I just don't want someone who's going to have that expectation that I'm going to be cooking for you at this moment. We're not married. So we're in the dating process. I'm not expecting you to pay my bills. So, I mean, you have to have parameters up and boundaries. I'm not saying, hey, I need you to pay this bill, this bill, this bill. But I also, you don't get marriage benefits without the benefit of marriage. That's
Right. I agree. You shouldn't be cooking for him if he's not the one. Because if I'm not the one and you cook for me and your food is good, I may take it like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, she loves me. This food is good. Yada, 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 yada.
I specifically don't cook for men if I don't like them because then it's hard to get rid of them.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I got something. I had a conversation with someone, and that person said that he was talking to a female and he asked her, when are you going to cook for me? And the female did say, when we're not married. So he got offended and he was just like, what? Why do I have to marry you to find out if you could cook? So I want to know what y'all thoughts is about that, because that's kind of what someone is saying.
No, I'm saying not cooking every day. I'm not saying
the lines are not that black and white.
Right. And I would never
what
say
goes on in your house is your business.
Right.
What you do in your house is your business.
But wait a minute though. Like I said, we are in this group because we desire to be married. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't necessarily draw a line. I don't know who that young lady was, Natalie, who said, I'm not cooking for you until we're married. That you are both trying to present to each other. You should already be doing some things within God's word that's permissible to show this person I love you and I care for you prior, because otherwise, what are they marrying you for? They don't even know the things about you that make you the one for them, you know? So cooking is a way. I mean, that's like, if I was down there in Atlanta, to be honest with you, I would be cooking for my brothers, Sean, JL, and whoever guys, because that's just the way I show people that I love them and that I care for them.
You gotta get to Atlanta, Davita. You
gotta
gotta move
That's
here.
fine. Buy you a ticket down here.
You know, because
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. Even for my sisters or whatever, I'm gonna give some tips and stuff, because we're trying to make ourselves better for the opposite sex. We trying to learn from each other and try to get some tips so that we can be better for that one that God has for us. So a woman who draws the line and is not going to cook for that man, she cutting her nose off to spite her face, because he's trying to find out something about her. And she's not even allowing that to happen because she's being so dogmatic about the process. You know, you do have to be a little fluid on some things. God doesn't say nothing about God. It's funny, the women who don't want to cook are the ones who open their legs though. You know, God says something about that. He doesn't say nothing about giving that man a biscuit or some sauce. Crazy.
Okay, so Davita, I feel
got real
like
on y'all real quick.
Y'all thought I was sleeping.
Listen, I totally get what you're saying, but I totally get what you're saying, but I didn't even get a chance to ask him this in the context of what we were talking about. Because my thing is, I don't want to say I'd say the same thing like the female did, but I find these days that guys want you to overextend and do all this extra stuff with very little effort. And that really irritates me, because it's like you want to know so bad. Yeah, you want to know so bad, like what my skill set is, what I can do, and all of this and all of that. But yet, if I tell you, my car broke down, you don't even suggest, oh, can I come pick you up? Like, do you need a ride, or did you need me to call somebody? You don't even give me Uber Eats. Like, you don't even have to move here.
So let me say this.
Because I think there might be some context missing to the story. There's a difference between somebody saying that to you on the first date, but I don't honestly think, what's the difference between a guy saying to you, when are you going to cook for me? I may not like the way you ask, but you're expressing to me, this is something that means a lot. And if you didn't, I would feel loved. There's no difference between that and me saying, I really love it when somebody brings me flowers. I think it depends on where you are and where are they in the relationship and the dating process? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for something like that, or somebody cooking for someone they're not married to. But if it's something you're asking for, like on a first date, that's something totally different. So there has to be some kind of contact.
I agree.
Those have been my experiences. First meeting you, when are you going to cook for me? When are you going to invite me over? That's what I'm getting. And sir, no, sir. That's not going to happen. And let me ask this. And let me ask this though. And let me ask this to a guy. I was dating a guy for almost a year, and he got upset with me because and this is just, getting personal. This is how it went. He got upset with me because he said, "Why would you work in your yard today when you knew I wanted to see you?"
Oh, well, see,
I said, well,
he could have. Has he ever helped you in your yard? Has he ever helped you in your yard?
No, because he was the type that he would pay someone to do. I don't even. He didn't work in his yard. I said, but because of his allergies. I said, well, I don't know what you're upset for, because you could have took a Benadryl and came over.
No, but hold on. Let's rewind.
You stayed with him for a year.
Let's rewind for a second.
No, that was towards the end. That was the nail in the coffin. That was, honey, trust me, my tolerance would not have permitted that.
But see, what I was saying is, if he all that in a bag of chips and he ain't willing to work in his yard, and he don't want you working in the yard, then why isn't he paying for your job, for your yard to be taken care of as well?
Exactly, to pull you up out the yard, right?
Exactly.
Basically, if the yard is such a, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you guys again, straight up, because that's what we like to do. If I'm dating a woman and I don't want her in the yard, then I'm gonna find out, either I'm gonna come over there and cut her grass, or I'm going to sense about it. I'm not gonna complain about something I'm not willing to help fix.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's how I am. I'm not gonna talk about it either. I'm not gonna complain about something I don't have a solution for. And so that's why my comeback was what it was. But no, that came back towards the end of, the whole relation. It wasn't even a relationship. We were getting to know each other. And that was just the nail on the coffin. Like, what you want and what I'm responsible for, because I would definitely, take a back seat to your job, which I did on many occasions. If he had something to do and had to reschedule, fine, no problem. But then that's what I got. And so that was the end of it.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing about, making sure that you're not with somebody, like I said, that's just taken and it's always about him, because, yeah, I think we're all kind of saying the same thing. And I mean, you made the right decision. Bye, Adeze. It's just one of those things. I mean, people have to recognize that, they need to do something or they need to stop complaining. Like, cause I know for me, straight up, and I have a friend, and he's a perfect example of this. He was dating this girl. Oh, bye, Tata. He was dating this woman, and he had 2 cars, and she didn't have a car, so she drove his car.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it was. See, a good man is gonna step in and he's gonna take care of the problem. A bad man is basically like telling you about your problem, but then ain't trying to help you with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just, yeah, you did the right thing. I ain't got nothing to say about it.
I'm just so thankful to God for this group, because all of us have so many different scenarios. When I listen to some of the issues, some of the challenges that some women bring up, I might not have that challenge, but I'll know what to do when it comes. Because I've had the opposite, where men have actually tried to do things for me often, clear my snow and things like that. And because I know that the man has an infatuation with me, I have actually declined, because I don't want to give him the wrong impression. So you see, do you understand? Is that a good thing? I mean, some women like, no, just take that. But I'm like, I'm not a user.
Well, see,
and I know that your intention is for me and you to be in a relationship. So I would rather do it myself.
Well, I just think, I mean, again, it just depends upon how you look at it and what you're willing to ask for, and also how far you're willing to go with it. But, if you think the guy is 100% trying to get in a relationship and you're just not interested, then yeah, I mean, you might not want to accept every single thing, because that could be leading him on. But, I think that if it's, that 50-50 place where you're like, if I blink out of one eye, I might be able to, to see myself with this guy, then, maybe at that point you could let him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 50-50, yes. But
yeah, if you 100% no, then yeah, I'm with you.
Going back to now, I just want to clarify something. Natalie, I'm not saying that I would never cook for a guy before marriage, because I would. I just don't want him to expect that I'm supposed to be cooking for him on a continuous, constant basis if we're not married. Because at that point, you're having marriage benefits and you're having expectations on me that should not be there, that are premature. So that's what I was saying. And as far as Davida, what you were saying in terms of, if there's a guy and he's offering to do something, if I'm not interested in him, I probably wouldn't. I'm not gonna let him do any of that.
Yeah, because I don't want to give the wrong impression.
Because I don't want to give out the wrong impression, and I don't want him to later on have expectations for me because he's thinking that he's done this, this, and this. So that's how I would approach it.
So I have a real life situation exactly similar to what y'all talking about right now. So I had a situation with my car that broke down and it would not start. So I couldn't even take it to a mechanic, like the dealership, like I normally would. My homegirl offered to call or ask her boyfriend for this mobile mechanic. The mobile mechanic came to my house and instantly he's already putting pressure, like, oh, you this, you're that, I'm attracted, da, da, da. At this point, I just want you to fix my car. Like, that's all that I want. You know what I'm saying? So now when you're telling me your prices, now I'm like, oh, okay, what you were saying about liking me now, like, I might want to
Wait a minute.
So yeah. So then very similar to what you said. I called my friend. I was like, dang, this old car gonna cost me $1,000 to fix. So what should I do? She was like, well, if he trying to talk to you, girl, milk whatever you can out of it so he could fix it and not charge you that much. So that's kind of like what I did. And now he's like, asking when he could take me out and all this, but I'm not interested.
So you
that's
paid
kind of
less
why
than
I asked my
$1,000.
earlier.
You paid
you
less
was
than
wrong
what
for
he
that.
you
You was
paid
wrong
less
for
than what he
that.
originally quoted.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done
Yeah,
that.
I did.
I can't co-sign on
Yeah,
that one.
Natalie. Yeah, Natalie, you're gonna have to ask. Now you gotta ask. You gotta
That's
also
why
give him
I
some
asked
kind of
y'all
money.
about that.
Give him some kind of
No.
money so he can feel like he wasn't
No,
used.
I did give him money normally, because I had to pay for the part, which was like $500, and then normally he said he charged $300 for the labor. I think I gave him like $230 or something like that. So I did give my little self like a discount, but now
You said you give myself a discount.
You approached that whole situation wrong. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Is this the guy?
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
What's wrong?
You
What's
need to
wrong
go
with
on a
him?
date.
Let me ask Natalie, what's wrong
You
with
need
him?
to learn
Because
that lesson. Go
he
on a
sounds
date.
like a nice guy that's wearing his heart on his sleeve and a little bit naive because he really should have been handling the business first before trying to date you in the first place. So he went about it all wrong. So what is about him that you don't like? He's not, I mean, because he sounds like a nice guy. You might be passing up a nice person. What's wrong with him?
You're not attracted to him. I know that.
Yeah, that's what it
I'm
is.
not
We know
attracted to him.
Natalie. That's what it was.
Oh, Natalie.
I'm not attracted to him. And then on top of it, I'm not trying to say anything against people that have been to jail or whatever, but he's been to jail and he's put
Well, no.
and
Now you got to be careful. Now you got to be careful.
No, you don't. I've been there, done that.
He got shot 7 times. Like, what? I'm not dating 50 Cent. He even got 50 Cent money. You wouldn't be a mechanic if that was the case. So, like, I'm just like,
yeah. I mean, all around, that's not a good fit for you.
Right. Goes
so
in his
what
mouth.
you
in
knew
his
that.
mouth, I have to say.
I mean, I think this is just like a learning lesson for you because you created this ongoing relationship with somebody because you made it seem like you might be interested, and so now, like, maybe
by
that's
getting a discount, I'm interested. That's not fair.
Yeah,
You sent the wrong message.
It was unprofessional of him to ask
Sure
you, but
did.
you could take the discount, and you know that. I mean, I'm not going to say I know that if that happened to me in the past, it was also because I showed some interest or I flirted. So that created this kind of ongoing situation that could have just ended if you were like, "Here's my card, I'll pay you whatever,"
and pay you the money. Pay the money up.
Done.
Yeah.
You might have to go ahead and make an
No,
arrangement.
I take my money. I don't give a flip.
That's what's precipitating this ongoing relationship with these people that you don't want to be around. It's because there's some people that you have to own that you did, you participated in this and you created this ongoing situation.
And that's going to be an uncomfortable conversation.
The Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no, Natalie. I'm going to bring the word every time.
Right.
I think you also need to have a conversation with him about what his fees are because depending on, where his mindset is, and I'm not saying that he has to have a violent mindset just because he has served time in prison, but you don't know what may be coming down the line because he might feel used and that can make a person snap. I don't play with people's emotions, period. And so if he's thinking in his mind that, okay, we're going to be in this relationship. I've been talking to her for months. I fixed her car. And now you're saying, okay, well, sorry, I don't want to date you now. That may not be perceived right. So hopefully just a conversation, just be honest going forward. I wouldn't tell him that I was never interested, but at this point I would just say, you know what, what's your fees? Or something, I don't know, but I agree with Stephanie that this has to be worked out so that there aren't nothing.
So, this is now like, this is the price you're paying for that discount, girl.
Sean, bye, Sean. I talked to you
I
later,
gotta
Sean,
go.
since you leaving.
Kill it
I
too,
gotta
unless
go.
somebody else wants to take over.
Sean, you got a date too?
No, I don't. I'm actually going to be working on the Christian Singles website. So, David, I'm going to be giving you a call.
Yes, please.
Jay, I did get your message.
What
And
do you think she should do, Sean? What do the man think she should do?
Natalie?
Yeah.
Oh, what Natalie should do?
Yeah,
Natalie, you gotta change the places you hang out.
No, but I mean, in the current situation, what should she do with this guy going
The
forward?
man came to my house. What you mean?
And now you know where she live.
Cause she couldn't move her car. She couldn't move her car.
I would tell him don't come back again, and then if you see him again, I would call the police.
No, it's a different story. See, basically, he came to her house because he was basically a mobile mechanic.
Her car
And he
couldn't
was
move.
basically fixing her car, but because he liked her, he was willing to give her a discount, and she accepted the discount. And so basically, it was almost like saying, "Hey, yeah, I kind of like you too." And so the other ladies are basically saying, "Natalie, you shouldn't have done that because you led him on."
Okay, well, here's where she's at now. Did he finish fixing your car?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
But it
your
has
car's working smoothly. You don't need him no more, or do you need to call him again?
might because it has some other stuff that needed. He said, "Don't call him."
You need to call somebody else. You need work done in your car. Call
I
someone
would
else.
I would keep it going until your car is finished.
Oh no.
And then once your car is finished, then you can cut the cord. But you know, I don't know how you want to do that.
A man saying that. So he
I agree with that. See, y'all from New York, y'all might be able to handle that.
I will
These
wait
Southern
till your
boys,
car
you
is
might
finished.
disappear.
That's too high a price to pay. Whatever that discount is that you're gonna get, you're gonna have
If
to
he
pay.
didn't have, if he didn't
Well,
have
it may be a
tires,
higher price if she has to take the car to somebody else.
But he likes her though. He's giving her the discount because he likes her and wants to take her out on some dates.
I don't think that she should let him touch her car anymore.
You don't mix business with pleasure.
Yeah,
that's what he said though.
And let him finish. Let me tell you, this is tax season, right? So I found the new accountant. She's gorgeous, you know, and I can see us working together in the future. Big time CPA, nice person, single, all that. And I do like her. But she has to finish my taxes. And she has to set up my books for the remainder of the year first. I can't make a move until all that's completed.
Natalie doesn't like this dude. She doesn't like him at all, but she's accepting his romantic
Doesn't matter.
discount.
You got to get business out the way first.
But isn't
But he's giving her a discount because he likes her.
That's on him. That's on him.
Sean is rough.
That's on him. If you want to give me a discount because you like me, I'm gonna take it. Don't be mad if I don't reciprocate. I didn't tell you I
that's
like
New
you.
York all the way, right there. That's
I didn't tell you that. I didn't lead you on. I'm not if I'm not leading you on or anything else.
But that's what she's doing, Sean.
Don't you try that in Illinois.
I don't know if it's leading you on. I'm not willing to say that. I'm just saying you're putting yourself in continuing to put yourself in a dangerous situation. You don't know how this person's going to react. And you're done. You finished fixing your car the first time, right? Move on to somebody else who doesn't have this emotional baggage too much.
Yeah, I feel
you. Might already think you're in a relationship, so I wouldn't play with that man.
All right, Sean, I'll talk to you later.
Priors.
Okay, all right.
Okay, because I got a venue for Baltimore coming up. So.
Okay, all right. So you hear that we're gonna set up a event in Baltimore.
Yes.
Natalie, just be careful. I mean, the guy did get shot 7 times. He has gold teeth.
Girl.
So just watch yourself. Be careful. Whether you get rid of him or keep him around to finish your car is entirely up to you. But whatever you do, just be careful. But moving forward, you got to change your venue.
All I'm
So
saying
you don't
is,
meet
Natalie,
those type of mechanics.
it sounds like you're in a Tyler Perry movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're in a Tyler Perry movie.
Natalie needs to write that
All
book.
right, y'all.
Come on, Natalie, write that book.
I gotta go.
All right, bye, Sean.
Next time.
All right, bye, Sean.